comments.
I guess we'll go ahead and do the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy birthday, Gladys.
Thank you.
Should we read something? The June 15th is senior citizen, honors senior citizen day or
Anyway.
something. I just read it.
I'll leave that one alone.
Definitely.
Any approve on the board of minutes? Yeah, anything on
I moved to.
I'll second it.
any public comment on the board of minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion been carried and passed. We'll go into correspondence. First one is a DEQ public notice on the purpose of a public notice for construction in Helena. The second one is from Shannon Chamberlain on HR training opportunity from Good Morning from Mako members. It's Wednesday, the June 8th, Tuesday 14th, and Tuesday 11th. It's ambulance training.
So Billy, didn't you say that there was some interest in this?
Yes, there was one county employee who asked me about that, and it was from a clerk recorder's office. So I told her I would pass that on to you guys. I think from what I read, it's Missy McCarthy hosting it, who is NACO's HR director, and I think she's a general counsel. I could be wrong, but and I think she's hosting 3 different sessions on. I think it's just general HR training. And they're in 3 different locations, but other than that, I don't know the specifics
Okay,
of it.
so on,
Is this like this
it's,
age?
well, you're gonna go in and you're gonna have, the Mako attorney
Mhm.
refresh you on HR. And I mean, it's not that they're gonna be able to assume an HR position, it's going to be where they can understand more of it. And is it payroll? Is it Becky that is interested? Which would be a very good thing. So does this need to be
I'd
put on
make,
the agenda?
I guess I'd take, yeah, we probably put it on the agenda that,
Okay.
you know, that we can, if she wants to.
No, it's
know.
just something, the training is free, so you don't have to worry about that. It would be just
Travel.
travel expenses.
Just a second, I have to turn my things are not acting up, my hearing aids, that's why I was trying to
Oh.
hurry up. All right, so we'll go ahead and, that was all for the correspondence. We'll go ahead and go right into public comment. Any public comment? No?
I don't think so.
You can go ahead and talk about that, being it's on the public comment day.
All right. Well, I got the paperwork together.
Would you
for the-
state your name and?
Dave Kessler, sorry, number 3. That's the estimate for the moving the judge's office from one corner to the other. You tear the carpet out, take the platform out, recarpet the whole room. Prices are kind of subject to materials going up, so the quicker we get it paid for, the cheaper it's gonna be. But, yeah, I'm waiting on that. Blackfoot been there yet, Billy, to move that stuff?
Double check with Sarah, because they were in
Okay.
here and they looked around at stuff, but they haven't
This is what, this is a bid on setting up, you know, when I told her it's gonna cost money to redo the judges thing, this is
Did we
what,
put it out for bid?
we just put it out to see if we get anybody. And he just brought that in to show what it costs.
That's just estimates, that's gonna be pretty close, I think. And then the ceiling in that office, the corner office with the northwest office, you know, they cut some holes in it to access it. I think the best answer there is to put a drop ceiling like this in. Cause you can't patch that plaster and make it look good. And to patch it, then we gotta repaint the whole room, we gotta repaint the pipes, and there's just a rat nest of pipes in that roof.
This is,
So if we put a drop ceiling like this in, that'll hide all that. The lights hang low enough that we just cut the drop, but leave the light sticking through it. Real simple operation, but
I seen him last night and I thought he better get this in right away, so I told him bring it in this morning, this way we can put it
Yeah.
on the agenda, at least we have it in front of us and we kinda know what's going on, so that's why he's
So
here.
that's the,
Yes, yeah, Chuck.
that's to take the platform out of the office over here that the judge sits on and recarpet that room. Move her to the Billy's old office or Mike's old office, build her a new platform in there and get her all set up in there. And then redo the ceiling in the office right behind it. Put a drop ceiling in that.
Cause remember I said it's gonna cost money to move her, remember, cause her stuff wasn't, it's a different setup, I went down and looked, but that's why he come in, Chuck, I had seen him last night at the greet and meet, and I told him just bring it in so we have it, so that's my.
Update on the dome, it's weather dependent. The wind gets to blowing and it's whipping that membrane around and it's like peeling stick like duct tape. And the wind gets to blowing and next thing I know it's stuck to me instead of the flipping building. So it's kind of weather and wind dependent. It's going a lot slower than all of us had hoped, but we're making progress.
so is this Mike's old office?
Same on the padded cell, making a little bit of progress, but kind of trying to focus on this dome to get it done. But
Why do they have to drop the ceiling again? Sorry.
we don't have to, but you know, it's lath and plaster ceiling and they cut some holes in it. And you can't patch that and make it look decent. It just never works that I've seen it. Maybe there's
Which
somebody out there.
We have drop ceilings right here. so-
Yeah, it'll look like this when we're
Yeah.
done. Or like Blaine's office or, you know, the courtroom. So it'll update it.
Last time they cut a big hole, and then that whole damn thing that's, when they cut it, it didn't perfect, it just shattered, and shit stuff came down.
Yeah, it's a mess to try and patch that. And there's pipes, drain pipes, water pipes, all that stuff crossing that office like crazy. There's no sprinkler system, so there's nothing to worry about there. But if we put that drop ceiling in, it'll hide all that and clean the ceiling up, make it look a lot better. And if you have a problem, have a leak or something, these tiles are like 65 cents a square foot versus to patch that little hole they cut, it's gonna be $500-600. Then you have to repaint the whole room every time. Updated and a lot easier to maintain.
So I'm surprised we didn't do that office when we did this whole building.
I wasn't
That's
there,
weird.
I don't know.
Huh.
Remember we had,
I never even noticed that.
remember when they did the lights once?
Yeah.
And they were gonna do a bunch that, was gonna do that stuff and.
So it never, yeah, we never did get the rest of it done. We got so much, because all this is all redone with lights, because we just have the hanging lights.
It's still got the hanging lights down there. We can update
Yeah.
these if you'd
Yeah.
like, or leave the hanging lights,
Yeah.
but it's a small enough office. Very back corner. I wouldn't see a need to update the, I mean, if it works, why spend more money on it?
Well, I think we'll stamp these in and put it on the agenda for next week so we can
Okay.
talk about it a little more and make a motion or whatever we want to do, or if we want to go downstairs and look at it.
It's going up and down on this lift, just looking at the building as I'm going up and down. There's a metal trim work around the top. There's two layers of it. There's one that's like a catwalk and then another one up higher. They're both getting water down behind the tin and it's rotted the mortar out and pushing that tin out. In a couple of good windstorms, that tin's gonna be flapping in the breeze and wind up in somebody's car. So we probably need to address that in the near future. It needs painted bad anyway, and I can't remember who's telling me they painted it half a dozen times already.
The last person that did it didn't quit on it. He started and then stopped.
Yeah. So So if we wanted to do a project on that and tuck all that tin back in and remortar it, the issue there is as much the tin as water's gonna track that tin and get in behind the brick. And there's two layers of brick up there. There's the fascia brick and then another structural brick behind it, and that water gets down in there, it's gonna freeze and pop it apart, break all that mortar. So we wanna do that.
I think that'd be a job like in the summer where it's warmer, we'll have to put it out for bid or see what it, maybe you can get an estimate.
I can give you an estimate if you
Is
wanna
that
go for
all right?
bid, that's
Mhm.
fine, or,
Okay.
you know, however you wanna handle it, but I can get you a rough estimate on it. Wouldn't be that bad of a job, especially where we got the lid sitting here already.
Well, I think we wanna get something, cause that's what happened on that, went down into Blaine's
Yeah.
office, got in behind, sat on the roof, went down
Yeah.
behind there. That's what we're running all the way down into their office.
And when Ace Roofing did that roof membrane, they stopped it, they ran the membrane up the roof and stopped it right on the very top. You don't do that. They tried to ramp set it down into that concrete top cap on top of the brick wall, and that top cap's degraded enough, it's blistering off in pieces as big as your palm. So the quick, easy solution there would be to bend some channel, some kind of C-shaped tin. You get it whatever color you want, and then fasten that over the top of that concrete cap. And then that hides it all without moisture hitting it. It's not gonna degrade any further. If we hang down that far on the inside and the outside, that gives the water somewhere to go each way. That's not gonna be a big expense. That's something we can do while I'm already up there.
Well, and this is, being as it's a new budget year coming up, yeah, we need to know just what we need to do on
Okay.
repairs.
I
Yeah, it's a
kind of
good
come up
thing.
with a list of what I think ought to be done and come back next week.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put you on agenda, say 9, let's see. Let's go ahead right after the correspondence, because then if somebody has some public comment on it after they hear it, they can question it.
So you want it to be at 9:05?
Yeah,
Public
It
comment
is
on
9
Monday?
o'clock next Tuesday, Dave.
Okay, yeah,
We can, is that all right with you guys?
Mhm.
Good.
okay.
Thanks.
And I can get a bid. I'm worked with a couple of painters, so I had a condo, a young gal that's really good, really, really good. And if we sandblast that tin that's been repainted so many times, that'll give that paint something to adhere to. Sandblast is expensive and noisy and messy, but it gets it done right, and that should last longer than we do. Should.
We,
What's that?
we.
We,
all of us?
no, I hope. I hope. I don't wanna redo it, paint. Hate paint with a passion.
Well, thanks, Dave.
All right,
I
thanks, guys.
appreciate it. Any other public comment?
How's that? Just sit in my corner. I'll just sit in my corner.
Put the candy in there.
I'm sweet enough.
Okay.
My opinion though,
Did you get my encroachment permit packet?
I did.
All maps on the flash drive.
Right,
And he'll be here today at 9:30.
I talked to him yesterday.
We're still on public comment. I do want to say thank you to all the people that did it, the good work yesterday on the water. It was amazing after I was up here watching, see how they did, and the mayor and everybody, the sheriff,
So
light.
did you snowshoe in?
Oh, hell.
Did you go?
No, I stayed out of the way. They already had it. They had people going in on snowmobiles, walking, and the sheriff's deputy flew a drone up to, and it was pretty interesting. Wow.
Yeah, the school sent out that would be the iPods.
So the iPods went out and then the school sent out a thing saying a little bit later that.
They
it's
said,
supposed to close.
The mayor Drummond said she never got the first one. I did. I found,
I got the first
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I did too on my cell phone.
yeah, and then that's when I tried calling you. But anyway, that's but it did go, I got it. But she said she was gonna talk to Jackie or Scott or somebody about it. It didn't come in, but I got it down there, and then I got the second one too. So I thought everything went amazing for what, you know, just a boom, what they did. Hats off to them.
Like
Everybody.
Jackie said, it was great that we had that functional, even though it was a different event.
But so, alrighty, well, it's, oh, we got a couple minutes yet. I just wanted to pass that on. Thanks Lifelight too for doing all that work.
Oh, there you are.
Ooh.
11:14.
There should have been one at 8:30, 8:30 there.
Maybe there was two.
Cause I was at the sheriff's office and. we
Okay,
tried.
8:12. And I didn't have my ringer on.
Okay.
And
I just
that's-
wanted to let
I'll
you know
try
that
to-
I did.
Yeah,
try to
no,
get
you
hold
did.
of
I
it.
see
Okay.
this. Sorry.
And I tried calling Chuck too, but his phone, anyway, it's all took care of.
Okay, in this situation, is this something that we need to group together like we would if there was a catastrophe at the dam? Because of the city, it being the city, and they've got it under control? Is
Yeah,
this
they're-
something that the county would,
They take the lead on it.
yeah, so the city,
See there, it come through. This is the new one today.
it's improved, the line is fixed. Okay, don't water your yard.
I think they're still trying to burp it. That's what Dan told me last night. So,
And Harrington's did deliver water yesterday to the town hall.
alrighty, well, we'll go ahead and move on to, thank you, everybody. Road and Bridge, Superintendent Paul Alt's here. Go ahead, Paul.
Same as last week, we're just blading roads and coal patching. Still coal patching in Rock Creek. Just
It'll be a while.
gonna start working our way this way, but what we're doing is, I'm just having them haul a couple loads to Rock Creek and then it'll be late enough, then bring one to one of our other roads here, you know, Big Black Pine, Maxville. We got some holes at Georgetown Lake. Just otherwise, just you spend all the time on one spot. It's a long damn ways down there, you know. So that's kind of what we're doing, just breaking it up a little bit to try to get some everywhere. But
We haven't got any millings yet.
no,
They're
we're
going
not.
The other way or something?
Yeah, they're reusing them all. He called me and we could get, now they're giving them to anybody that's got a truck who wants to haul them. Anybody that has their own truck, well, we could haul our own, but my opinion is not very feasible just in a dump truck at $6 fuel when we're already so tight with our fuel, we're just over it. I don't think we could get enough hauled in 4 days to warrant doing.
If we had valley dumps, we don't have the money to be hiring people to haul it right now.
No.
I think.
As it stands, we won't get any, but that could change in 2 hours after I get out of here. They may just say, okay, we'll truck them all in.
So if it happens to change and they say they truck them in, does he have the
Right.
permission to go ahead so
Yeah.
we don't have to try
Yeah.
to get a hold
So
of?
it wouldn't be a cost to us,
No,
Yeah.
but it
we
would be
can
put
cost.
on where we've got
yes.
the millings already.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, I
I think it just
understand
leave
that.
it, and then he don't have to try to get a hold of us.
Yeah.
If they do it and they haul.
We would have, worst case scenario, we'd have one man and a loader there piling.
So they can't make up their minds what.
Well,
doing.
they're hauling with their own and they're remilling them, you know, reusing. And their calculations are a little bit shy, and so they need to get rid of some, but they don't want to cut loose with the trucks.
Right.
So,
And I want to make it noted that the county does not have nothing to do with that. I got a complaint about a person, local contractor that's working for them guys. And she accused him of hauling stuff home to his yard. And we don't have nothing to do with it. She's thinking that we Yeah, so,
And this is state, at the state
Yeah.
level.
If they own a dump truck or a belly dump or a side dump or anything, go get in line and they'll give you some. At your own expense.
Yeah.
but the county has nothing to do with
Right.
it. It's
Yeah, it's
trying to get that explained to the people and they're just saying,
LHC's deal. They own the milling, so that's where we're at with that.
So the state does then, if like a local contractor would go and ask them, do you have any millings? Then they'd bring their own dump truck and they'd give it to them. Is that kind of a policy? Do they do that? Do they give?
This is the first time I've seen them do
Oh,
that.
okay.
Normally, the state awards them to whatever county it is,
Right.
and then that's where they go.
Right.
And, but this time they actually belong to LHC, the contractor, so he can do with them as he wants.
so I mean, I could go down there and get some put in my yard and this time I won't get in trouble.
Basically, they've reached
Be careful.
they've reached how
I'm
much
not
they
doing
need, in the yard.
I know.
But that's about it. And that's an endorsement permit there for,
Where does it go?
you to sign it on the back. What was the total wound up being on the Blackfoot?
Like $6,000-7,000.
Sixty-seven, well, 87.
87?
He was 87.
You have it right here.
Like,
7,800.
That's what it was. I knew it was something.
We have lots of.
That sevens and eights in one, right?
Yeah.
I
Just
like
couldn't get a
I like
picture.
it.
It was a lot.
They choked on it.
All right, do you have anything else for us, Paul?
I don't.
We still got, is there any public comment on the road? Are you guys here on the road or?
No,
Huh?
No.
We still got 10 minutes. Did find tire?
They'll have one by maybe the end of the week.
If you need a spare, another just to have one, there's one in my yard now.
They'll grab it.
It's right, go up the yard and it's right by the car trailer, it's laying there, it's a brand new Chevy, 17-inch, but we should have a spare. Blading going pretty good,
It's going right along, yeah.
not much moisture, is there?
No.
Some of them roads, wow, dusty.
Yeah, we're trying to get stuff bagged and as we go along,
That'll be good, get that holes filled up Rockford. That road gets so beat though, it's, like fishermen and all that.
A lot of traffic.
Is there any public comment for Superintendent Paul, Road and Bridge?
Have you had a chance to look at culvert locations up there?
I have not.
Did I tell you that Rick Lacy called and thanked, said, you guys did a good job?
Yeah. That's good. Sure wasn't much left of that pipe. It was just rust completely out.
The one on, by New Chicago.
I don't know if there's gonna be any water to run down it anyway.
100-year flood, no.
It'll last long.
Yeah,
I got a letter they're wanting us to do road maintenance up toward the ghost town at Granite. And, there's just no money to do it.
What kind of maintenance?
Culverts and, just, it needs material. I mean, you can't blade something that's unbladeable. You know, you have to haul material in there to put on it.
The gentleman gave me a packet and I just passed it on to Paul.
Who did?
The guys that wanted it done. He was gonna come in. I seen him last night. He was gonna come in today, I thought, so that's why I haven't said nothing.
he wanted to what?
Maintenance on the,
Oh, he wanted maintenance.
yeah, fix a bunch of it because they live up there, but. you know,
It's non-maintained, and that's what that means, unless there's extra time and
Money.
money, you know.
Hey, Blaine.
How's it going?
We're
Well, we
still,
have to do a little bit.
we're still
As
on
much as
road
we can
bridge.
do, we need to do on some of these roads, that's for sure. Talked about that before.
So question on your roads that you maintain, do you have a map like that one down in the shop where you kind of shows what? are
Yeah, we got
maintained?
one, I got them.
And they have one in the clerk and recorder's office too that shows maintained. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yeah.
Have you? Okay, so if it needs updating, maybe.
Just the same map.
Yeah, but see, there's several different ones. There's one that says when the road was petitioned in, and then there's some that say that what road work is done on them. There's like 3-4 maps in the vault that show different road things that look like that.
No, I've never seen them, I guess. I just
Yeah,
like
it's
this
just,
one.
it's informational thing if you wanted to just go look at it, maybe. You might need to update it in there. Got scratchy throat. Must be my birthday.
So are there any hazards that need to be picked up there, or, you know, something?
Nothing out of the normal, it hasn't been that way forever. You know,
I remember I was over there a couple of years ago, and it seemed like there was one kind of a washout.
yeah, and there's lots of things a guy can do on it, but we'll be hauling material up there to do it, you know.
Is there any other public comment? Being none, I think we'll go ahead and move on. Blackfoot Communications, come on up and state your name and stuff, please.
Hi, my name is Jason Robertson. I'm with Blackfoot Telephone Communications. I'm here to talk about the dam again. So I've dug around and I've dealt with the FERC a little bit and tried to get through all the poop walls and all that stuff. And upper management on my side is we want to comply and everything, but we're requesting that we don't deal with FERC since we are in the state right of way and county right of way. We're not digging or encroaching on the dam itself at all. We're digging on top of on existing utilities away from the dam. So do I need to still move forward with all the FERC hoopla?
I
Because
wouldn't think so.
Well, what did Jeremiah say?
Jeremiah kind of laughed and said FERC's kind of fun. So, and he gave me a number and contacted a person. And I'm gonna just say this: I've never been treated so rude in my life. I don't think so. I kind of went ugh, and
Yeah, I hear you. County just doesn't want to be crosswise with FERC.
and I understand that, but I got some pictures where we're planning on digging, and I can show you how we're not encroaching on the dam itself. We're just basically staying in the state right of way, county right of way for the dig downs. And
I think it maybe have Paul go up with them just to make sure.
I'll do,
that dam-
I'll do some research on
Okay.
that as well.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
Just so we don't get.
So I got some pictures if you guys want to look and how you guys want to go. So where do you want to start? Paul? All right, here's on the state highway side. So here's the power pole. Here's existing utility. That little X is an existing ped. We're gonna basically dig in right next to that. Get in there, and that's when we'll jump into that pipe and then go across the dam. And like I said, we're not digging on the dam. We're not removing anything.
And
We're not-
there was a encroachment permit application. that you
Yes, I got
submitted?
all
Okay.
the state permits are in, and we're waiting on that to get back, and we will not start construction until the state permits are
But
in.
with the county's permit though, was granted?
Yeah, he got them all turned in.
Okay, all right.
We got about 100 of them, I gotta go look.
So, this would be the county side here, and I believe that would be Deer Lodge.
So where you digging, right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna dig here at this end, basically by this guy's driveway, which you would know where it is, Paul. So we would dig in there, so we're not encroaching on the dam in any way there again.
Mind showing that to the commission?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Blanche had a question for you.
Go ahead.
So are you digging right here?
I would be digging ideally more in this area right here, Blanche, in this area here. So here's an existing pad here. Phone line comes this way, goes right through here, and then it jumps into that next picture that I showed you. I have for you. No, that's on the wrong side.
Yeah, see when I cross that,
Yeah.
man, that's Deer Lodge County, that's not us.
And then it comes out.
But still in the
It comes out here. This comes out here
county property.
So it'd be like that.
It's-
So we come out here. This pipe goes in the ground to there. I want to intercept it in this area here, which is shown right there.
I don't see no problem.
So
You're
if it-
talking- oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead.
You're talking about Granite County property potentially that's in Anaconda, Deer Lodge County.
The dam falls on you guys. You guys own the dam. From what
But
I-
but it's in Anaconda, Deer Lodge County, but you're talking about property that's owned by the county, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna do all my diggings in county. I'm not gonna be any private or the dam itself.
So the Granite County and the Anaconda Deer Lodge line goes right through the middle of the lake, right?
But the dam is in
But
Anaconda, Deer Lodge County.
Oh, but the dam is it, okay.
Yeah.
But
we
you guys
own
are
it.
responsible for the
Like,
dam. I
okay.
guess it was gifted to Granite
Yeah.
County from my research
Yeah.
that I've done.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I'm sorry to do that to you, but the FERC is, I struggled with them, and
So do we.
my boss has said, can you just go talk to them and see if we could, because we're gonna focus on state and county right of ways. We don't want to encroach on that dam in any way. I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to upset with anybody, and I don't want anybody to get flagged, so.
I'll do
Your
some,
comment on that?
I'll just do some digging to make sure we're not gonna get in trouble with FERC.
Okay.
And then you can just be in touch with Blaine. I guess we,
You have to do this.
yeah, as long as we're not causing, but I think Blaine just let you know if it's good to go, just go.
The encroachment permit, it's granted, should say, subject to following all laws, but I'll research.
Right,
this
right.
issue.
And yeah, and like I said, we're gonna dig a pit, we're gonna intercept that pipe, we're gonna jump in that pipe, we'll blow a string through it, one end, pull our pipe, cover it up, we're done and gone. Like, we're talking not even a half a day of work.
Okay,
What are you wanting to do it?
This would probably be towards the end of our project here, so I do got time if you guys do stop me on this.
Okay.
I can file for it, but it could cause a problem maybe down the road, but I don't anticipate it being here till the end of summer.
I'll get on research.
so is this something that FERC can have a say in?
That's,
Off the top of my head, I'd say no, but I wanna double
Yeah.
check.
If it's not even affecting the dam at all?
that's what my supervisor's telling me, because he's dealt with FERC on other projects and not in Granite County itself, but around the world. And he goes, we're not digging on the dam. Jay, why didn't you stand up? I got my hands flat. I'm just following the order.
Yeah, no, you're doing it.
So-
Yeah.
So would this be something then that Granite County would be the ones to let FERC know that we have given them the permit to dig and it's not on the dam?
Well, let me research first and
Okay.
figure out what the duty
just
is there.
question.
Yeah, because that's the ultimate question. You have a duty to
Okay.
tell them.
Just so that we're right, to make sure and that they don't get in trouble and we don't.
Yeah.
And then Blaine can make, if it's a good goal, then you.
Even when he crosses, as soon as he gets across,
Huh?
it's deer dodge.
Yeah, so
I
yeah.
mean, we're not even,
Hold it,
Billion
one
would
at a time.
basically include
I'm
it.
goofed up here.
up
What's
the
that?
roadways on top of that hill, other than the
Oh, yeah.
It's your pipe. I want to follow all the processes. I want to make sure that everyone's happy.
Okay, we got a comment. Go ahead, Elena. Sorry about that. We gotta go one at a time.
Elena Gagliano, for the record. The maps that you've shown, are those part of the commissioner's documents for today? Because I can't see them and you're not screen sharing, so it's hard to follow what you're saying. And another thing I want to say is, again, I think Blaine mentioned it, the dam is in Anaconda Deer Lodge. So I don't know, I can't see where you're digging because usually anything that has to be done up there, you also have to get permission from Anaconda Deer Lodge. But I can't see the map, so I don't know. Thank you.
And I do have all my county and state permits for Anaconda already. So they have already.
I'd still like to see the maps uploaded. Thank you.
Billy, I'll update them to you. Thank you.
That's
No,
all I
yeah.
have, ladies and gentlemen.
So, yeah, well, I think that you can just deal with Blaine there and he'll look into it and then that way.
Okay.
So does this need a motion?
I think we probably should have a motion that once Blaine looks into it.
Oh, Blaine's gonna look into it before we give
Give a
them.
legal opinion before
Okay.
you final go ahead with permit.
No, like we were talking yesterday, Jason, I'll just have all of them, we'll just be in one blanket, I'll just bring them all in here and they can just sign off on them all at once.
Okay.
In one meeting. Rather than every meeting.
I brought you a lot of them.
You brought me a lot, you did.
I kind of thought I made them organized enough where it was easy enough for you guys to say, okay, okay.
No, they're pretty good, that flash drive is the way to go.
I gotta go drop one off in Butte now.
Any other comments on the Blackfoot fiber optic project?
Well, I guess that's it. See you guys later on.
All right. See you. I'll see you later. Okay, thank you so much. Jay Roy.
Sorry about that, Billy. I
You're
got
fine. He's like a good, way of plan.
Yeah, just
Well, I did listen. I was listening to them.
MSCON.
Billy.
Good.
So, as long as you're just still here,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
have one question.
You can ask all the questions you want.
The question is you've already done your work through Anaconda Deer Lodge because of the fact that it's on, the dam is on their, it's part of Anaconda Deer Lodge County. So this isn't something that Granite County has to make sure that, because you've already done your permits, and is it included kind of in that you visited with?
I've done everything that Paul has. I did for Anaconda County.
Yeah.
And they've already went through it. I was just ahead.
Yeah.
I did theirs first because we're starting in Anaconda and coming this way.
Right,
But so I got my permits in there first and then
Yeah.
now Paul was waiting, but they went through the same thing. I gave them a flash drive, broke it out on all the sheets. They basically looked at everything exactly how I go to Granite County.
so what I'm saying is you've gone through the process of going through Anaconda Deer Lodge, and Granite County doesn't really need to tell you to go through the process. You've already done it.
Yeah. I'm just,
Yeah.
the only thing you
I see
guys
where you're
own the
going.
conduit, so I'm just trying to, I want to comply with you guys.
Yeah.
first, So
But
And
it isn't up to us to tell you to do stuff in the other county.
I understand.
And as far as you bringing us maps in, we didn't see them before you brought them in. So what Billy will do would be upgrade them and where the public can see them. When something comes in, you can't be expected to put it there before we've even talked about it.
And moving forward, knowing that I could upload all that stuff to Billy before, I'd never.
So this
Well,
is
we
something,
still
yeah, if,
I got, that's not an issue. Like that's been
Right.
sitting in my
Yeah.
email for
okay,
2 weeks.
that might
That's
be a
my
good
bad.
idea.
My bad. I didn't know.
No, that, good thing.
Hopefully we don't have too many more things I gotta deal with you guys on.
Well, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
All right, thank you.
You guys have any comments? Okay,
Have a good one.
Thank you guys.
thanks, bud.
Let's go. Good.
How was graduation?
Very good.
Got another one at the house.
Yeah. Bittersweet.
Yeah.
Still got 5 minutes.
I mean,
5.
5 minutes.
Go ahead, Elena.
Here we go.
I'm sorry, I know everybody left, but this just came to me. If everything, the work on this is Anaconda Deer Lodge, it's in their county, why is our road and bridge
Why-
supervisor involved with this? I don't get that.
Granite County owns the property.
Conduit is ours. The digging is on Anaconda.
Then
So we just have to approve the going across conduit.
you have, Paul, I'll do look at all your encroachment permits and county
Part
property.
of
The
his-
other
part of
encroachments
his
are on
job.
us. They're in Granite
So in
County.
other words, he's the contractor for us, basically, doing it on that property?
Who?
What are you talking- No, the other permits that we gotta sign, unfortunately, I have to. They are on Granite County.
So,
We haven't got those yet.
so Paul's just reviewing the encroachment permit applications, and then the county commissioners give the final say on it.
Okay, I guess.
Encroachment permits aren't part of the dam situation, right?
No.
The one-
They're before, they're on
It's just
Granite County.
it's the one you use for any type right of way or property.
And that's
It's like
his,
one we
part
just
of his
looked at.
job is to go look.
So there's gonna be 100
Yeah.
of those for each individual.
It's an encroachment permit that Granite County requires, and the encroachment permits that Black Mountain has applied
Blackfoot.
for and put in,
Blackfoot.
what'd I say?
Black
Black
Mountain.
Mountain, sorry, Blackfoot. For this optics project. It has nothing to do with digging around the dam.
Okay, well, thank you. And I just want to say one other thing. Thank you, Blanche, because I think it was Commissioner Hinkle and I could hardly hear him. Thank you.
She can't hear you. Any other public comment? Being none, we're gonna move on to the Brandon Parrott Dam Tinders review.
I got it.
Oh. Well, I have it here. It's like. It is 6428.907.2 inches below. Last week it was 6.96 inches below. So lost. I'd entertain a motion.
Well, we have to stay, by law, we have to stay where we're at. I don't want to.
Yeah.
You go ahead and entertain it. No,
So I'll make a motion to stay where we're at
I'll second it.
and watch it go down.
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion been carried, pass, leave it as is, and we have Brandon's report on the second page here.
So actually, because we're putting 30 out and we we're still doing okay, right? Or are we losing it faster?
Well, I think once it warms up, we're gonna gain some. It's, it's cold. Like they said, there's 6, 7 feet up Fred Burr and that, and you get up some of these places there. I don't know. It's scary, but I think we're gonna be okay. You know, it's Blanche's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
If that turns off from Blue, you just turned off all the microphones.
I turned it back on. I pushed it and then I pushed it again.
Okay, make sure I'll be, if that one's still.
Have to work on your birthday.
Yeah.
Is this his mic for the, or is
Yeah,
that?
that one, just because they all pick up a 10-foot radius.
Does your granddaughter remember?
Yes, she
Oh,
did.
good.
Yeah, she remembered. She planned a party for me last night,
Okay,
a barbecue. So yeah, she did okay.
nice. Wow,
Little
love you.
girl.
Any public comment on Blanche's
No.
birthday?
Never mind. So is there a little light on this or, oh, there is, right there, it was hiding.
Yep, there's a little light on each of them.
Pull it up to your mouth when you talk.
Blue there on.
It can be
I think
mouth
everybody
to
else
right.
is hearing us pretty good.
Yeah, Becky and I touched them. I went up the stairs.
I
and
got
on my
you.
cell phone and she sat in each chair.
I got your text message on that you're testing. Yo, banks down there at Flint Creek, they're really sucking the water.
Are they?
I walked down along there again and it's
We're out.
down there 6 miles. I always stop there and look. You can see it. It's just sucking it.
So the banks catch the water first,
Yeah, they start pulling, because everything's pulling.
so dry, so they suck it in.
If we can keep the banks wet, then water will get further down the creek. Otherwise, if it don't, we're gonna lose a lot. And then the wind's killing us too. That day, we got up to 60 degrees and the wind blowing at 40 miles an hour. We lose a lot of water.
Yeah.
A lot. I haven't heard nothing on East Fork. I don't know how they're doing again. And the Willow Creek one was up, but I mean, it's, this time of year it always is. Harvey Creek was flowing really good. That's down at Bearmouth. I went down and looked there and just kind of seeing what these creeks are feeding. But you get down there at the bridge at Flint Creek there in New Chicago, it looks like July.
You need to warm up the grass to grow.
Hi, Becky.
Good morning. I have claims that were missed last week.
always bothered me that we have to pay the DEQ for burn sites on the solid waste crap. I mean, you're just burning stuff that's.
Yeah,
Like the one in Drummond's 1,199, and that one Peeber's 920. Got paid to burn that stuff. Bringing in free stuff, it still costs. us.
Yeah. Yep.
Burn Plus man hours.
permits. That's CICIC.
You guys all right with them?
Yeah, we're good. Good to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Becky.
Great school graduation tonight here. I read that
think it's
stuff.
Drummond.
I got notes.
Drummond too.
I got notes from Jackie on water and
Oh, yeah. Kindergarten on tomorrow.
Kindergarten.
I have 2 kindergartners to go watch.
Excellent. How many are in their class?
I want to say between 10 and 15 up here. Yeah.
Good.
I feel like the classes up here the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited for class is 17.
Can we talk
Good.
just a second on the something talking right up color. Yeah. Did you get the safety alert thing?
Yeah.
Did you guys get that? You guys get the safety alert thing? Cool. I'm just making sure, cause I got told yesterday it didn't go to a couple
So-
people in Drummond did, but I got it down there.
I didn't get the first one when I was in Drummond,
Okay, Gail, the mayor didn't
Yeah.
either.
but this is the iPause. Yeah.
I got both
Reverse
of them
that.
yesterday. Pretty cool.
So the one on the phone was iPause, and the one that from the school,
That was just an email from the
that,
superintendent.
But like the Drummond school has like a call out.
so
to
I got a
sign up
call
here.
too, a recorded
Yeah.
message,
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
2 phone calls,
Yeah.
plus I got an email from the school.
So that's not iPause. The
Yeah.
iPause is just. from
But
sheriff's
iPause
office.
was just the,
Yeah, the sheriff's office. Or from the town through the sheriff's office.
I never get phone calls from the school.
So,
I don't know for a long time. I didn't call them either.
We're doing a couple minutes.
I don't know. I got the email yesterday. My sister-in-law.
The Drummond school just so long, the one is getting cut off on it. Keep it kind of see.
You do put that in the correspondence. That- Okay, we're 1 minute early, but we're gonna move on to the DUI task force member resignation discussion decision. Is this do we have it?
From last week. So there's not a written one, it's just from last week when Sheriff Umberson said it's Dwayne Ulrich that he had spoken to and he's not coming back to Phillipsburg.
Yeah, he moved, so no longer Granite County residents will need replaced. So I was encouraged to do a notice in the paper for 2 weeks.
Do we have to make a motion on that?
Yes.
So I will make a motion that we put a notice in the paper for a DUI task force member for Granite County.
There's a second.
Any public comment on this? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Slam. You slammed your cup of coffee.
Karen's back to work. She was sick for 10 days.
Really?
Bad.
Oh, wow.
Not white blood cells.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I talked to her this morning, she's back. Janine's back. So there's some kind of flu. Nice to get some nice weather so they can finish the roof.
Yeah. So does he have to-
Rather and be cautious than not.
Right. The copper, is it there? Is it on?
Getting something on. Kind of hard to see. Thought about going up in the lift.
See it before
Yeah, you
it
should go
turns.
to that.
Yeah, see it before it turns.
Yeah.
Before it turns green.
Morning, how's it going? Good.
Okay, well, we're 1 minute ahead, so we'll go ahead and go into the issues with plowing on Red Lion Road, discussion decision.
So you want me to give some background?
Yeah, go ahead.
So county has that resolution where it's, that road is not, the county road there is not to be plowed till April 1st. People need permission to be plowing on a county road in any event. We met with Mr. Crawford last year. I told him 3 times we need a permit to be able to do any type of plowing or maintenance on the Red Line Road. He plowed snow again, adjacent to his property is my understanding. So, the snowmobile club contacted me and they're frustrated. Everyone's, the fellow homeowners up there are frustrated because they go in there and hit holes and other things. It becomes a little dangerous, and so it's just completely blowing off what we're telling them.
Were we able to plow in? No, you mentioned something that,
Well, the county resolution talks about till April 1st. I
Okay.
believe.
so no
But-
plowing until
Yeah.
April 1st.
But any event,
Still out.
yeah, just a private person going up there, they need permission
Right,
to be doing
right.
anything with the road.
So the whole thing is, he should have got a permit. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as the snowmobiles, I mean, it's after April 1st.
Yeah, I think what they're saying is some of the landowners even up above are snowmobiling up in there and it causes issues. Granted, there is the snow left, but it creates holes and obstructions and.
So in his email, when he mentions that he had, is he here?
No, he said he wasn't gonna be able to make it.
I don't think he's on. either.
He had no intention of plowing the road year round. Well, where does he get off thinking that he can plow it?
Well, you
In
remember
the
the
spring,
you remember
yeah.
the meeting we had last year with him, and he was questioning then on whether he needed a permit, and was told numerous times he did.
So he plowed when he shouldn't have,
Yes.
and he
No,
did.
He should have got a permit. I mean,
Yeah.
he should have come in and talked to us, we could talk to him. We could
This-
have got hold of the other people.
Well, that's the thing, he's taking it, and just doing whatever he wants, and we've told him not to and not to. And
So he plowed, and are you people with the, and you didn't want him plowing?
No, that's not, hold on, a little hot here.
You'll have to come up and
Come up
state
here
your
and-
name.
All right.
Did everybody sign in?
Untitled, we live in Anaconda. I honestly thought we needed to bring some awareness to this guy, like, hey man, you can't do this, you know? Come to find out, this guy did it last year. And he also is cutting down some old growth trees and dragging them on his property that people have apparently brought this evidence to your county and nobody's done anything. Same with the Forest Service. I know nothing of this. This is all Anaconda, he said, she said, right?
I haven't heard anything about the trees.
Trees,
so,
we've
yeah,
never had
yeah.
nothing.
Really? Well, I'll make sure that the snowmobile company, snowmobile club gets you some pictures. 'Cause we know them. They're definitely old growth trees that were cut down and probably too late now. But anyways, what I'm getting at is I thought this guy needed to be educated on buying property in the backcountry. It's hard access. Live with it. You bought the property. Well, as I asked around the community, come to find out, he just does what he wants when he wants. Plowed last year, he's gonna plow this year, and apparently he says, I don't care, you guys can write me a ticket, whatever. I don't know the truth, but this has turned in, for me, trying to bring awareness to some private landowners, because the other private landowners up there are leaving trash, it's getting chaotic, but there's more than awareness that needs to be done here. Like, he needs to be, something needs to happen,
I
because
agree.
the other people that are gonna start moving here and buying your land in your community, and they hear about shit like this, excuse my language, they're not gonna care what you think. They're gonna go, the county let that guy get away with it, we'll just do this. So I'm kind of worried for you guys, as Montana, 5th generation, this is getting out of control. And I know it's just a road and the snowmobile season's over, but it's not. There is a pile of snow up there. And for some of us locals that love taking our kids in the backcountry instead of taking to the baseball field, we still have that opportunity. And if he gets a permit, I can't do nothing about it. Just means I get to drive further back and not have to go down that crusty road. No big deal. But
Just know, I mean, last year we thought the issue was taken care of. We
oh yeah,
told them in the public meeting, do not do it again. I told them that 3 times and then,
I don't think,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't think we're gonna
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah.
I don't think that, the way you're kind of coming off, you're saying, well, you're just gonna, you know.
well,
but-
from what I've been seeing, I'm concerned for your community. Like these people up here do not care. Like they don't care about the snowmobile club. They don't care about the side-by-sides, the dirt bikers. There's a trailer that sits on that road and it's got a bunch of trash in it. Like, I mean, it's, the other day I was up there, Friday, took a picture of it, sent it to Fish and Game, like, there's a trailer with a bunch of trash in it on the side of the road.
Do you have it?
Yeah, it's on my phone, but it, you know, the squirrels are digging through it, but here in a couple of weeks, bears are gonna be digging through it. And I get that homeowner can't get that up to his house right now. I get that and respect it. But I don't think those homeowners understand that they're gonna come down one day and a bear is gonna have that ripped all the way down the road. And then the public's gonna be mad and you're gonna have another problem.
Is it in the county right away?
They're parking right on the road. Like if you go up there probably right now, the trailer's right here because they.
And
they
this is the
they
same guy that
probably-
plows?
No, this is the other guy. This is the dog sled team, supposedly. The dog sled team? Yeah, I don't know either. Like, I really very rarely ride up there. But I was riding up there this spring and every time I was just blown away by, I mean, the dog shit alone, like, all on the groomed trail, like, that's gonna smell great during people's side-by-side runs this year. I don't care what anyone says, like, I got 2 pieces of dog shit in there and I can smell it. It's all whipping down Showers Road. We're gonna have to deal with that this summer.
where's the trailer at?
Just, it's right on the road. They can't get.
But, you know, the address or,
No,
like
the
the-
trailer's just sitting on the road.
but.
I'm assuming that
How many
it's the dog
miles
sled.
up?
Huh?
How many miles up is it?
We're trying to figure out.
It's past the Lussey property, past the mine there. I mean, so basically what they're doing is they follow the snow line as it goes, right? That's what I would do as well. But what they do is they park the trailer and then they try to drive their Jeep up as far as they can. Then they probably bring the trash down, throw it in the trailer, then go back home.
Well, that one I'd say, also let the sheriff's office know. You can send us pictures in the county, could go through the process of notice and having it.
Well, I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just, as a Montanan, and I go up there, I'm just like, in the whole road thing, like, who buys land where it's minimal access and then just like, can't even pull a permit, you know? This is like, I think they're spitting in your face, personally, and, you know, I'm not trying to point the finger at you guys at all, I just, like, what's going on around the lake and around this area with everyone moving here and buying up land, you guys are gonna have your hands full.
Well, I think we need to make a presence, knowing that, you know, we told him not to, and now it's time to, you know.
I agree with you, but you know, that's in your guys' hands. As a concerned local, I hope I didn't swear too much.
Thanks for your comments.
No, thank you. Can we get that picture from you?
Yeah.
Is there any other comments? On them trees cut and stuff, like Cameron, kind of throwing you in the,
No, that's all right. Cameron Ray's our district ranger with the Forest Service. So he did cut some trees. I turned it over to our law enforcement officer and that's being dealt with behind the scenes. So that's not the topic of the meeting today.
Okay.
But I think where this gentleman was alluding to is Mr. Crawford just does what he wants to do, including cut trees and stuff. And that's a good example of. What I will say with the road is the commissioner, what's it called?
The resolution.
To the resolution of, I think it's December 15th to April 1st, that converts that county road to a groomed snowmobile trail. And you guys may consider relooking at the dates of that, because right now, April 1st, as we all know, is still wintertime up there at that elevation. And with those homeowners that do live up there, maybe May 1st is a more appropriate date, or even later. I mean, sometimes it's July before that road. You can even drive up that road. So if they're plowing it even the month of May or part of June, it's gonna allow vehicles up there, which causes rutting and a lot of resource damage to the road. I know the road's in horrible shape, but we both are working together to work on that road a little bit for everybody's benefit.
My opinion too is I think we better make a statement, whether it's
Yeah.
being plowed now or July. When you're told not to do it, you're not to do it.
Yeah.
It's-
See what his email is saying, that being said, it needed to be plowed, so he did it. And whether or not,
Above the law.
with you saying that the resolution needs to be changed, I agree. I think we need to up the date on the resolution.
Yeah, we can go to May 1st, but still, he was after May 1st.
But I mean, if it just seems like we're gonna do it, we need to stop it.
He needs to stop taking it under
His own,
his own, by plowing it. He doesn't have permission.
just that. Just that. We got people want to ask questions.
I just want to
Can he
make one
just sit-
comment.
Just a second, okay, hold on. Can
Okay.
you just send that to you, Blaine? Okay, that's, all right. Go ahead, go ahead.
Last year, I was here at the meeting that we previously had with this gentleman.
What's your name?
Referenced him.
State your name.
My name's Jack Roach.
You might come
So,
up close in here on Zoom.
And we had a meeting here and it was brought to the attention, and his exact words, he says he called Paul, and Paul didn't return his call, so we bladed the road last year just because he wanted to blade the road and get to his cabin. And we, I was here at that meeting and I was here at the other ones when he was here playing, but if, like previous people said, he just kind of does what he wants. He was told not to do it again. There he's doing it again. And he just took it upon himself last year. I'm gonna plow the road. Paul didn't call me back. I mean, if that's the way it works,
That's, yeah.
and like you said, as far as that resolution, as far with him plowing there, people trying to, like snow.
So I would say he has to get a permit. We would say, no, you cannot plow. And he doesn't have the right to plow, but he's not even gonna ask for a permit. He's just gonna plow.
Right.
Is that what I'm thinking he's doing?
Well,
But
I
I
think that'd be a pretty good bet that I'd take, yeah.
I
That's
think-
what he's, that's what he's
One
doing.
at a time.
He's from out of town and he's got money and he don't give a shit what we, us people locals. think. My opinion.
Go ahead,
All right,
Brian.
so the sheriff's office been contacted, they're looking at, you can amend the resolution, and then, ultimately, if he keeps violating, or at this point, it's gonna take litigation to stop him if he doesn't stop.
Well, I think, my opinion right now, we better do something now, and then we can amend so, make it later in the year, but it don't matter if it's later in the year or earlier in the year, he's gonna do whatever he wants. That's the way I'm taking it.
How about we see how the, sheriff's office investigation goes, and see if what happens with that, and go from there. And then if he, but county has to keep in mind, if he keeps doing it, it's potentially gonna be civil litigation.
Okay, so one question here is, Paul doesn't give the permits, does he?
He either submitted to him and he reviews
You
it.
submit it, but you would submit it to the county,
Correct.
and he's not even doing that. And he's using the excuse saying that he's calling Paul.
At that first
And not
meeting, yeah, he said,
getting
well, I
an
tried calling
answer.
Paul and I remember Paul sitting right there and he said, Paul didn't return his call, so he said, I told myself to do it.
You heard me tell him multiple times they needed a permit, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
He's-
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
the guy's, he's educated, but
So I'm
don't care.
thinking, how do we pursue this as of right now, not worrying about what, I mean, it don't matter if we make it
yeah,
June, whatever. Right now, I think something should be done about it,
I agree totally.
cause it's,
It's just-
we can't just keep telling, them, no,
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, slap
Well,
him in the hand.
obviously, just like, oh, well. And I wish he was on there to hear it, but I just My feelings is we need to push it right now. And I don't, you know, like you said, we'll wait, see what the sheriff looks at it and that, but we know he probably shouldn't have and made it a hazard, and if somebody gets hurt and it's been noted, it's coming back.
Right.
And I don't think that's right.
So you want it on the agenda next week and see what happens in the meantime?
I
Make a decision?
Oh, Elena's got a comment. Yeah, I think, well, just a second, Elaine, hold on. That, yeah, I think we can put it back on the agenda and then we can talk to the sheriff and come in and give us a report on it now, but I think my personal opinion, he's just gonna keep doing it. We need to stop it.
I don't think the sheriff will come in and give you a report on what his investigation is, but at least we'll have more information.
Okay. Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you, Elena Gagliano for the record. Again, people on Zoom are having a problem. There's one gentleman, he apparently can't hear, and maybe he doesn't know how to work reactions or unmute or ask to be heard. And then two, you can hardly, thank you, he just put his hand up. Apparently people come up, then they introduce themselves, we can't hear them, and then they crosstalk and it's hard following who's saying what and when. And you say this guy, that guy, have no clue who you're talking about. If there was a, Blanche is referencing an email from this gentleman. I don't see it on the documents to follow. You know, this is a public meeting and part of the public is watching remotely. And it's very hard to follow. No cameras showing who's speaking when. This is for the record, I'm saying it. Now, Nicholas, who's got his hand up, I'll turn the floor over to him. Thank you.
No, I'll turn it over to him. Go ahead, Nicholas.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
I'm Nick Roach with the Anaconda Snowmobile Club. I was at the past meetings regarding the plowing with Mr. Crawford. I wasn't able to be there today, so I'm trying to do this Zoom and I'm not too familiar with it. Sorry if it's an inconvenience for you, but anyway, I was contacted last week about him making some plowing done on the road, and people asked me, hey, I thought he wasn't supposed to do these plowing. And I said, well, so I contacted Blaine Bradshaw about this, and he said, yeah, he brought up, we told him 3 times. Well, in that previous meeting, you guys brought up, you know, he's went up there and he's done road work on there. He's put in culverts. He's done all this stuff without permits. He doesn't care. He has zero care for the law. He claims he's a land developer and been a developer for 30 years. If he's been a developer for 30 years, he knows that you need permitting to do any kind of work on a county road. You need any kind of work to do it on your property. If he's building up there, does he have building permits? He doesn't care. He's just going above beyond the law because he thinks he's got money and it doesn't bother him. He's been told not to do this how many times? And I was told by the people snowmobiling up there, they come flying around a corner and then all of a sudden it's plowed and hits a pole. This person almost wrecks, or somebody does wreck and gets hurt. Who's responsible? Is that the county? Are you guys going to hold him responsible? I mean, somebody's got to be held responsible for this stuff. We can't just keep saying, hey, don't do this. I know you're working towards this. Something's got to be done to this guy. I mean, if it's fines or whatever, I don't know, but something's got to be done to this guy. He doesn't care. He has zero care for the law and what you're telling him to do. It's not safe. It's not right. He's ruining the road by plowing that. What he just did is speeding up the thawing process, and the DEQ and them get involved in that. All that sediment's running off the road. It's running into our streams. It's just changing everything. Something's got to be done here. Whether the sheriff, you know, gives some tickets, I don't think that's going to stop him myself, because I think he's got cash and that he thinks he's above the law. That's all there is to it.
Well, thank you. Any other comments on this? Cameron?
Cameron Ranger again, from District Ranger here in the Forest Service. and this is just a much broader comment, but I just want to make sure that we're always working together too, because all these mining claims, especially up in the Flint, are being sold and people want to live up there year round. And some of the roads are county for a ways and then turn to Forest Service. So we need to make sure that we're talking and communicating. Because the road that maybe I don't want plowed later on, then maybe that will help change you guys' decision whether you authorize it or not. So as long as we're talking, I think as we get these proposals in, then I think we'll be in a lot better shape together. We'll be a little stronger. So
Okay.
that's all I got. Thank you.
Is there any other comments on this?
So, I think on the resolution, you could do a motion to direct me to make changes on that and have that on your agenda for 2 readings. The sheriff's office will do their end. County guy have to consider litigation if he's not willing to stop. Sounds like he's not. Yeah, potentially a letter to him stating that, but you know.
He was told right
Yeah.
first, and I
I know people want action done. As far as the trailer, there could be, that could be, you can let the sheriff's office know that, and then you could have that on your agenda, for next week.
but that's not his trailer, that's somebody else.
Yeah, but yeah, separate, but
Yeah, no,
but,
I see what, I
trying to-
just wanted to make sure they knew that.
be a separate agenda item.
Well, something has to be done. It's just to the point now that I understand what they're saying and we need to move ahead and do something about it, because obviously it's just gonna keep happening.
What would you like to see for a date then that, Cameron talked about? Even June 1st?
I'm not a snowmobile. I've talked to the folks that use it a lot.
June
But I know
1st
it's
sounds really
wintertime. I know it's wintertime up there a long time.
I mean, I know people that snowmobile to June 15th back there, you know, but we just follow the snow line. As it melts, we just pull up closer and closer and closer. I mean,
Well, I think we can
we
get,
know what we have to deal with, and I know we're kind of snobby about trying to keep snowmobiling that way.
well, I think we can get that took care of. My biggest concern is what we're gonna do about this guy that's doing it. I mean,
You
it
know,
keeps-
Nick is totally right. Somebody is eventually gonna get hurt with the stuff he's doing, and then we're all gonna be like,
well, that's
what should we have done?
So what's the penalty?
that's what I was just gonna ask. What is the fine and how do we go at it?
Well,
Or is that a,
it's talking about the criminal fine. It'd either be potentially negligent endangerment or criminal trespass. So up to $1,000 fine on the negligent endangerment. So
why,
I think they're right, though. I mean, I think there are good thoughts on that, but that's not a deterrent to them. But we can see it. We can see it.
but if
So
we
for
don't
the
do,
future, if we, put a penalty on not getting a permit, so
I think there is one that.
So we can just say, if you didn't get a permit, it can be
The-
a automatic $500 or
The civil penalties under the statute are very small. It'd be going into court to still get an injunction against them, permanent injunction from having it.
Well, I think
then.
if we don't do something and then something happens, we're gonna be in court anyway.
I'm not talking just about him, I'm talking about anybody that doesn't get a permit. So if there's somebody else on one of these other
Yeah,
roads,
and
that doesn't get a permit, we tell them can we put a penalty on, just automatic, we're gonna.
No, there's the ones already set by statute, which, yeah, I can look it up. It's nominal, really.
And oh, go ahead, Nicholas, sorry.
As far as setting a date for that, I mean, June 1st is a fair date. You just never know on snow, but it comes down to he shouldn't be able to plow anytime. I mean, unless he comes and gets a permit. It should be, say, June 1st, but just because that June 1st date hits doesn't mean he can go plow. He needs to come get permission to do so. I mean, I think if we at least go to May 15th on a date would be good, but the date ain't gonna stop him, obviously, because he thinks he can just go, open it up. You can't do that without a permitting. I guess that's the biggest issue is he needs to become aware that if you don't have a permit, there's penalties.
That's why I'm saying that it don't matter what we set it at, he's just still gonna do it. We could set it for the end of June, but he's still gonna plow when he wants to, and if something needs to be done about it now to stop it, so we've been noted, and then if something does happen, it's coming right back at us again.
So
Go ahead, Blanche.
one thing that would be good would be the resolution to up the date. Because it looks like he kind of abided by it because the date is April. And
Well-
he said it needed it done in May, so.
But he's right though, on that, need the encroachment permit, and he was told that.
Yeah,
So, but, yeah, so it's.
But
it's
even
still-
so, yeah,
Yeah,
even so.
changing that date would
yeah.
be good.
Well, I think charges need to be pressed against him, and whether he has money or not, it's still making a statement that this shouldn't be done, and he pays his fine, if it happens again, and at least this way we've moved ahead, and we've been noted, and people are complaining about it. That's just me talking.
No, I agree.
I mean, if something's gonna happen, somebody goes up there and wreck it, coming right back at us, because we've been told now.
But I still think we need a standard
Yeah.
on what the penalty, just so we can just say, hey, you're gonna be charged $1,000 for follow up permit. I mean,
I just don't think the county could do that. It would have to, it's either the criminal side or going and filing suit against them to get a permanent injunction.
So can the county research on doing that kind of action because he's not listening and will not get a permit?
And then
Can we specify, hey, we will do what we can
then
to
next
keep you from
Tuesday we can make a
doing that when we
decision
say
on it?
no? And what's,
I'll do a double check on it, but I think it's either charge criminally and then the civil litigation for injunction. Because I think the statutory fees or fines on that penalties are very, very limited.
Go ahead, Cameron.
Glenn, this is for you. So if you go criminal with it, I mean, what is that, like a misdemeanor or?
Yeah.
Criminal trespass you're talking about?
Yeah, misdemeanors.
So I mean, that's the penalty. It may not be money, but it's reputation.
Yeah, I could see how that goes, and also send them a letter and saying there will be litigation if there's more. I know people are frustrated with that because it's gone on here for a while. But see how the criminal side investigation goes, and then decide. So I encourage you to have it on your agenda next week.
And you can look into the codes and stuff, and we'll have a better idea, but it's definitely.
But if we could streamline the process, because like I say, it's gonna happen a lot, like Cameron says, there's a lot of roads, there's a lot of many things out there, and if we could do something, not right now, for the future.
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you. I keep hearing that he's been told. Has the county written him a formal letter telling him anything?
Yes, I sent him the multiple emails.
No, I mean a regular letter from the county saying, what the problem is and.
It's the same effect. He,
Can you open that, please? Thanks.
he was told
It's on the
in
minutes.
the minutes in here, as well as emails to him that he responded to. He can't say that he doesn't have notice.
And he admitted it.
Should there be another letter sent saying, yeah, they're cease and desist, and there'll be civil litigation if you don't? Yeah, probably so.
Well, in the meantime, I'd recommend we probably go to May 15th. For the date on the red line.
We'll have to make a resolution and then it has to be on.
So we do a motion to directly draft a resolution. amended resolution.
to amend the resolution?
That's my move.
Okay, I second.
Any public comment on this? State your name and
Jim Baquet, local landowner, concerned citizen. I got a couple statements to make. I think this is the first time I've had the privilege of attending this meeting in person, but it's very difficult from here or on Zoom to know when the commission is in session and when it's just talking, waiting for the next item. So it's hard from back here, like when you wrote a note to Blanche and turned it on, was that part of the meeting? Or was that something that you all were, congratulations on your birthday party? It's hard to tell, but back to the issue in question, it could be that this gentleman is in a similar situation as me, where he's already heard that if you submit a petition to be able to plow, that we're gonna deny it. So he's right back where he is right now. He's breaking the law, because the only difference between what he's gonna be in if he submits it and doesn't submit it is that he's still not, if he plows to get to his property, he's still gonna be breaking the law.
Deny it.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, that's
See if he
an
can fill out,
assumption.
he can
That's an
fill it
assumption,
out.
that I probably,
I wouldn't say how you'd vote on it.
And that was me. I made that comment, and in my ignorance, I apologize.
it's not easy.
It was, because you can't really say something like that.
In addition to that, I can see that I may be in a similar situation. So is there a way to submit that petition if my road is appropriated by the county as a county road?
We're talking about Redland. We're
I
not talking
realize
about
that,
your
but
road.
I'm
talking about
I'm
the-
giving you that background because I'm gonna ask a question. Can you submit that request to be able to plow before you actually want to do it? Because right now, I don't know if the road that I want to plow is a county road or not. It's in litigation. So can I go ahead and submit something that says, can I plow it if it turns into a county road? If you're successful in court and it is a county road, can I plow it? Because if I can't plow it, then why am I fighting to go and maintain control of a road that I can't get through, even if I win the litigation?
So he needs to go through his attorney and make those statements. I wouldn't respond to that, but we'll respond, the commission can respond to, get that letter, and then we respond back to his attorney. That's the way that it should be done. Any requests for encroachment permits, you guys would review and a decision would be made.
And that was my question.
So, all right, yeah, this would be maintenance agreement. So there's the distinction between a maintenance agreement and a permit. If someone's running fiber or electrical or driveway, that'd be encroachment permit. But to do maintenance on a county road would be a maintenance agreement. Either one would be a request to the commission.
So I can't submit that in prior to the resolution of my other issue with who owns the road.
I would just do the request through your attorney.
And this has nothing to do with my attorney. I'm just
Yeah, it
asking,
does.
can I submit it in advance? And do I have to go hire a lawyer to do that for me, or can I do that myself?
If it's anything to do with Browns Gulch Access Road, it should be through your
But
attorney.
that's not even on this. We're talking about Red Line. We're getting
And-
way
and
off
that's-
on your, you keep bringing up your road, but we're, don't argue. You are.
I'm just,
And then we're trying to get this resolved right now with these gentlemen that got on the agenda. If you had a problem with yours, you should put it on the agenda. You're not on there about Brownsville. We're talking about Red Line right now, trying to figure out what to do there. Okay?
can you ask for public comment, sir? And I
Yeah,
was giving you
But
my
you
public
keep bringing
comment
up your road.
because it's applicable to this situation. Fine, I'll ask for an agenda item.
Okay? So is there any other comments on this Red Lion Road? What's that? Don't.
Yeah.
The little
Okay.
giggle.
Hey,
You the
we're
giggle
not getting
police?
into this.
I can smile.
So was there any other comments on this red line? So we'll be on the agenda again next Tuesday, and we'll check in on that
Next Tuesday,
next Tuesday.
same time, 10?
Sure.
That sound good?
So may I make a comment, Blaine?
Yeah.
Don't we have already, we've made the decision that if anybody wants to maintain a county road and it's something that's not maintained by the county, they have to do a permit and come in and ask us if they can. I mean, that's already,
So the distinction though is you have people come in, they want to maintain or do any maintenance on a county road. They come in and talk to you about a maintenance agreement. If someone wants to do a driveway or the Blackfoot wants to do wires, that sort of stuff, that's an encroachment
Right.
permit.
so if somebody wants to come from a county road to their property line, they get the encroachment permit.
Yep.
To go across the county into their property.
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
I mean, that's all you're asking, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And we do have that.
Yeah, but anything related to the litigation should come through his attorney. But and Scott's also, Commissioner Allen's also right. The scope of this conversation was just the Red Line Road. So I agree.
I know,
with
but
that.
he was asking a question. He didn't specify what road.
Oh, you said that.
You said Brown Gulch Road? Did you? I didn't hear him say
Right.
Brown
He
Gulch.
said the road that I want to maintain.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, he
That's
didn't
it.
say what road.
but he wasn't talking about Red Line Road. But, okay.
Any other comments on this?
I'm not sure if Elena has a oh, no, she was just waving.
Who?
Elena was waving, and then she
Yeah.
stopped. Never mind.
What time's it on for next Tuesday?
We'll leave it at 10 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Oh, now Elena's hand is up.
Go ahead, Elena.
Just point of clarification. I was applauding before. I was applauding Blanche for clarifying that point. Thank you.
Any other comments? Five minutes.
Hey, Blaine, do you want to look at this?
No, what he was worried about.
Oh,
Yeah, that was just a note to me because it's not on the agenda.
Yeah.
He
You know,
brought it
all
up.
it is about fuel and budget in Area 5. So, and what I'd say if you're, making a decision on anything, you put on.
We
the
did,
agenda.
and I did.
There wasn't anything to do with the agenda item. Just so you know.
If we have a minute, can I ask another question?
Yeah.
I'm still back to trying to figure out, this is Jim Baquet again, trying to figure out when we're in session and when we're not for the open meeting. When does the open meeting rules apply? Is there like a light or is there something that at some point, I know when I'm zooming in, I hear a mute and it goes away and then I come back when you start the next.
On this, something that I'm learning on this too right here, when you were coming on and I kept asking you, last week there, and, once your hand's raised, I answer you, and but then yours was just going in and out, and then your wife, I could hear her good.
But, so what he's talking about is you sometimes mute it in between sessions. So the in-between sessions, once they're done with an agenda item, is not a meeting. So the meeting is going on right now with the commission, when they're between items, and then it's not. So you haven't closed this part of it yet, and so it's still open meeting at this point.
I understand that, Glenn. What I don't understand is there a clue to someone out here that knows when that break occurs? When we're in between agenda items and when we're still discussing?
We usually never shut it down. When there's somebody here, it stays
So-
open just like this.
So
Now, we're
everything
asking-
that's said here is still part of the open meeting?
It's
condition?
on right now.
Yeah, you're still right on.
But if we're finished with an item and then there's nothing else and we have a few minutes before the next item, he will announce we're gonna go off. And we go off, like if it's 10 minutes or something, because there is no,
That in that off period is
in
not a
that
public
off
meeting.
period,
You
there
could
is
be
no
talking about it.
decisions or anything made.
But when there's people here, it stays wide open.
So when the chairperson says, until he says we're off
Yeah.
until the next item, everything that we're saying is part
Yeah.
of the.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, it's on.
And he will announce it. I don't know if you noticed that. He does announce, okay, we're gonna go off for, until the next item agenda at that time. And I know there's some complaints about that, but that is policy, and I think we're,
We checked in on it. But if there's somebody here, we stay
Yeah.
on. Like, even if they're not here for this, it's still, we leave it. It's open. Because they might have a comment when you say, when I ask for public comment, then they might have one on it, so they're here.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment on the Red Line Road?
no, I'm just going,
Oh, I
How much time do you think I should allot for this next week? Just on my agenda planning.
Probably 30 minutes, because I don't know what, once we hear about it, and if we have to change the resolution, we have to have I'd put 30 minutes for sure. Means that we don't know, if it might change stuff, and then Wayne has to redo the resolution or something, we have time. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that all right if I go give these to Becky?
well, I don't sure.
You guys would like a piece of cake or something? It's Blanche's
Birthday.
It's my birthday.
You're sharing your cake?
Whoops, he's about foot. She's bringing it. I couldn't carry it off.
Thank you.
You can take it home. I have teeth too, my friend.
You guys want it?
Would you guys like a piece of cake?
No, thank you.
Pineapple upside down?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You really do. It's good.
One of the first cakes I learned how to make. Pineapple upside down.
Who's that?
My grandma, she taught me how to bake.
We still have a few minutes before the Big Sky Development Grant.
And I put that on there wrong, Big Sky Trust Fund. Grant closeout. It was for economic
People
development.
understand.
I'm following. I'm following wires. So,
Okay, we're gonna move on to the Big Sky Economic Development Grant closeout discussion decision.
Do you want me to kind of tell you about that?
Yes, if you would, please, I just read.
So it's the Big Sky Trust Fund grant, and this was, Hitler Medical Center had partnered with Headwaters to come in last year. You guys were kind of a sponsor for this grant. You did it through resolution. And Hitler Medical was to create 2 jobs, through this grant. It was only for $1,500. And it was a grant that they would request reimbursement through. Hitler Medical, though, has unfortunately not been able to do that. It needs to close out the grant early. They've actually had to get rid of some positions. So I worked with Kelly Sullivan last week, and we filled out the paperwork on that, and it just needs a signature to be closed out. No money was ever dispersed through the grant.
So we don't owe nothing and
Yep.
won't get nothing. It's
Yep.
just kind of just.
So we need a motion to close the grant.
make a motion that we close the BSTF grant because they weren't able to follow through. Is that basically what it was?
Yeah, I think they were hoping to come back a little stronger after COVID, and unfortunately, I don't think that was able to materialize, and they unfortunately had to get rid of the position.
So that grant money's still sitting there and we'll just give it back?
Yeah, it was for reimbursement, so they were never
Reimbursement.
able to
Okay,
request any, so none ever came through.
so nothing ever went through the county because nothing was ever expended. Okay,
They
got it.
have the money, but they have to give it back. Not
No.
the county.
They never even got the money, yeah, it never came
I
through.
just want to make sure what's
Yeah.
sitting in here and then,
Nope, and I touched base with Vicky, so
okay.
everyone's all clear and on the same page.
I second.
Any public comment on this? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried and passed. You want me to sign this right here in the little,
Yes,
under, to the right of my name where you signed it?
I wrote your title, but yeah,
Oh,
sign next to it, yeah. There we go.
Was they gonna work that out of the hospital then, or was it coming out of the clinic, or what? That,
So it's right down across from Granite Sportland, you know, over building. I
Yeah.
think they did it all out of there, and they were like, were they warming pads for surgery?
I thought it was actual, like, kind of, more beds or, that type of stuff, but I don't know.
I'm not.
So it was a 2-position thing they were trying to create and weren't able to.
Yeah, they were hoping, I think, to create 2 new positions that were decent paying jobs, for Granite County, and I think one of the positions was a position they already had and they were hoping to expand upon. and make it a better position, but I think unfortunately they had to eliminate that.
I remember when they come in, thought it was gonna, and they had that other stuff they were gonna distribute out of there, right?
Yeah, there's some.
Remember there was something that they were gonna,
Yeah, I was unclear. Or I don't recall.
any other public comment on this? Okay, we're gonna move on to the Headwaters Report.
That's me. So I went to the Headwaters meeting last week, and there was a really cool call out for a business in Drummond for Kobe Owens Photography. I don't know who that is, but he kind of started off his project wanting to do, he wanted to get registered in SAMS to pursue a solicitation for the BLM National Interagency Fire Center to do photography and videography services for the BLM fire program. And it's kind of turned into, he has been able to get EPA-based options for up to $250,000 of funding.
Is this a BLM
Zero
job?
Plan Management.
Huh?
I think it's a contract. He has been able
With
to kind of.
BLM?
He's been able to start his own business, his own photography business and contract.
I think there's some potentially some grants.
Yeah.
Through, ARPA, or was it one of them? Yeah.
I'm not certain, but he came to Headwaters basically to get himself started, and he worked with their agency people through, they have their small business unit, their PC.
Does he have a building in Drummond, or is this a photo place?
I think he just works it out of his home. He worked through the PTAC unit over there at Lynette that handles that, she'll help people get started. She'll help you get your SAMS number and get all of your technical stuff set up so you can contract with government agencies. And then they help you go after grant funds to get set up, which is pretty much what he
And
did.
they have to pay this back, right, if it don't work?
I think if you don't meet your grant deliverables, just like you would on any grant. But yeah, but it was a huge success story that they called out in the meeting for Kobe Owens out of Drummond.
What's it called?
Colby Owens?
Kobe Owens Photography. Yeah. As for loans through the loan program at Headwaters, they closed out the wagon wheel loan. Originally, that loan was due for $250,000 for working capital. It had to be restructured due to some unforeseeable circumstances. So now it has been reconfigured down to a $50,000 working capital grant, but it has been closed out with Headwaters.
Because wasn't it 291?
Yeah, it was a big grant. It was.
And then now they
huge
took
amount.
that back, and now they're giving them 50 to revamp that place?
Yep, and it's a loan, so it's
It's a
not
loan.
grant funds, it's a loan.
But we're losing that.
Yeah, and that's like the Kobe's alone too, right?
That's what I was, yeah, that's what it's
It's
kind of.
grant, it's
I
probably
think
a
that's
grant. Probably a
Oh,
grant.
his is a grant.
I think it's grant.
And then currently for the loan options through Headwaters, there's no projects with full applications pending, but they have received partial applications for a hotel and restaurant project in Phillipsburg. They didn't give specific details on what or where that is, but that is exciting. There's a lot of new commerce coming into Phillipsburg. Out of the Small Business Development Center, the Rise and Restore Conference out at Fairmont was a huge success. It was free for all small businesses within the counties RCD serves. And they had a lot of attendance, so that was a great thing. They're still continuing to aid people interested in the Big Sky Trust Fund and job creation planning grants, as well as rural business development grants. And they're still offering that technical assistance for people who want to.
Can you guys hear her okay? Okay.
who want to, get set up to do government contracting and get their SAM's number. And
I guess what I'm going back on is that loan part there with the wagon wheel is now that we, you know, it's sad, we lost the restaurant in Drummond now. I mean, it just keeps getting, but the 50,000 just to what?
It's working capital.
So,
Working
So-
capital.
And originally, I think is what was proposed on that wagon wheel loan, from the meetings I've attended up there was for, transitioning those hotel units into efficiency apartments. And then that loan was originally, like you said, for,
291.
yeah, for almost $300,000.
Well, I
And,
think it should be noted that that got pulled back because there's a lot of people that are really,
That
really
were-
upset that the 291 and now it went closed. But yet
Yeah.
now they got 50 for, instead of 291, they're getting 50
They were
to
down to
make
50.
it a low or whatever apartment.
And I did receive a lot of comments after that last update on the wagon wheel because people were not happy with that amount. And I did actually report that back to Headwaters. And they were still working on the restructuring of that loan.
Yeah, it
But
was,
yeah, they finally closed it out and it's only for $50,000 working capital to wrap that up.
I mean, people can do whatever they want when they buy their own business. It's just, it's sad. It's
Yeah.
Drummond's.
So they got 50,000 for working capital and they're closed down.
They closed the restaurant, but they're saying they're gonna continue to change.
The way that
or the
lady told
apartments.
me that works there, whatever, she said that, yeah, they just, what the restaurant was not gonna be 4 rooms.
4 apartments in the restaurant.
2 downstairs, 2 upstairs, which they used to have upstairs. Remember they had apartment upstairs?
Yeah.
But all the back is still, they're not rentable. I mean, they're rentable rooms, but they're not like a motel. It's not a motel.
Oh, okay, so they're turning the wagon wheel restaurant into apartments.
Yeah.
And forgoing the motel. It's gonna just stay shut down. And they need 50,000 for working capital.
To put in,
They probably already spent.
But other than that, there is some other stuff going on in Drummond. There's the butcher shop in the old grocery store. And then on the other side of that, they're selling, what is it, like ATV equipment. They have helmets and that's
It's
kind of an e-commerce
it's-
setup.
yeah, it's all the same, but I mean, yeah, Jason, or whatever, say his name, but yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so that's
Still
another
in,
project.
still quite a ways.
Uh-huh.
But
And I
the other part of it is they're selling stuff out. They got it actually helped a little bit, volunteer and help work on it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Headwaters, there's always upcoming trainings and events. They have introduction to PTAC and understanding how to do government contracting. This was originally going to be an in-person training, but Lynette didn't have enough people signing up, so now it's going to be an in-person and on Zoom offering. So it's a hybrid. And then they're offering lean training, social media for small business, website design, is your small business on Google, cybersecurity, as well as a QuickBooks training. So lots of training options for small business launches.
Maybe Headwaters could put out a report that, you know, that I just trying to get it noted that the people down there that thinking that they got all that money, they didn't. If somewhere or another Headwaters could put something out showing, because I mean, there's some really, I have some.
Irritated people. I got some phone calls.
Is it on their website or they don't put?
I don't know if they put up their whole report on their website.
I don't know if they have to or not, but it sure be nice to be noted down there or something, 'cause.
Yeah.
Any comment on that? Good report.
Thanks.
Was Gail there?
Gail was there. I got lost in the building. It was quite fun. It's a very big building.
Is there any public comment on this Headwaters? a couple minutes. Okay, we're gonna move on to the Granite County credit card policy.
Made the
It's an
changes you
amendment.
requested.
Sorry. What's that?
I made the changes you requested.
So
Okay.
mainly the one change was the former admin assistant used to take care of it, sign it in and sign it out. And now it's in the clerk and recorder's office to do that and has been. There was some confusion with us updating this, that some departments felt that they were told they could not use the credit card. And I know I never said that they could not use the credit card. We were just trying to get more clarification for the credit card, and visiting with Becky, and she checks it out to the county, to the courthouse crew, and then the sheriff uses the same card. So that's where the problem comes in, because they only have a limit of $2,000. So she feels that it might be in the best interest of the sheriff to maybe get his own credit card, and that the courthouse use their own credit card, and then max them or bring the limits up to 5,000. And these credit cards that they're using it's money that's in their budget, and we're just trying to people get the policy squared away. It wasn't we're trying to tell anybody they couldn't use the credit card.
I have a question for you, Blanche. On here in the second paragraph where it says the county credit cards are for county approved purchases only.
Right.
Is there gonna be like say if somebody went in and they wanted it, is there gonna be a money, like say if it was under $100 or something, do they have to get hold to get that approved?
No.
Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
Well, that was in there, that
Okay,
paragraph's in there all along, meaning
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
you're not
that.
using it for personal
No,
reasons,
no,
just
and-
for county use.
yes.
So it could be for if they needed it for their lunch or whatever, and you'd prove that, but it's when they're on a
And-
trip or training or whatever for the county.
With meals, there's just a certain amount that's
That-
allowed.
Yeah, I was just, the way it was reading, I'm just probably reading it wrong, the Granite County credit card.
And that would be different, because they're only allowed
So
a
much.
certain amount for each meal, and if they use their credit card and go over then that's not a good thing. But I don't think anybody's doing that. I think that would be one thing that
Yeah, I
for
was
travel, I don't think that should be used for travel. I mean, except for rooms and stuff. They shouldn't be using it for meals, because what do you get? $6 for breakfast or $7?
Seven,
Seven.
7, 11, 18, isn't it?
So they go and use the credit card and spend 12 for breakfast? Then what? How does that work?
I can't remember what, that, because it's happened before. When we
See, and that's the only thing that was the problem with,
trying to use a credit card on instead of the coin.
I know when I go to training, I'm using my own credit card and submit a claim request, but I think there's probably some that, I don't know what the road crew does.
well, that makes it really tough if you're only allowed, and you can turn in a claim and get reimbursed from your meals. And you get reimbursed that amount that the county has set for meals. I don't know. I guess I'd ask Becky if she's had some of that, which I don't think that's right, to use it when you're only allowed so much to use your credit card, knowing that you can submit a claim prior to even going and getting meals.
Well, and that's what it does say that if
Yeah.
they can do it through the claim request process,
I
that's
see
required,
that.
yeah, so that takes care of that issue.
I guess I'm stuck on that where you said ARP or county approved. But are we don't have to approve each. I mean, is there gonna be a certain limit that they can go to a parts place or whatever? and
What,
get-
okay, I think what they're doing now, there isn't any, what am I trying to say? There isn't anybody misusing it.
No,
And I think there was a misunderstanding thinking that we thought that they were misusing it. We're just clarifying it. And for example, one department, they use it because they can get stuff faster through the internet, and it's in their budget to use it. And then they track that and get a hold of the clerk and recorder's office. That's how it's being done now. And then the clerk and recorder's office checks it in and checks it out. And they usually let them know what they're using it for. And then the sheriff approves everything that is spent on. And I don't think meals would be included because that's a set amount.
yeah. All I'm just saying is, so do we put a limit on that they don't have to call us on each time that they go into a
Yeah,
place to
right,
get
right.
parts?
Absolutely.
That's all I'm trying to figure out on that. Not the meals or nothing. I understand that totally. But
Well, and basically county approved purchases for the one credit card, they are county approved because they're just buying supplies for their office or for whatever they need. And then they make sure that it's noted what department it comes out of. But like with someone that is going on a convention or something, they can submit a claim for their meals. If they don't want to use their credit card on the room, the credit card could be used on the room because they'd have to get prior permission to use the credit card instead of using their own. You see, does that make sense?
yeah, I totally understand that part. I was
Okay.
just making sure that they don't have to call in
So,
every $10 purchase.
County approved purchases with your department head, they know what they can
That's
get
all I'm there.
with, that's county approved, they know. I mean, they're not gonna go in and, what would I say for an example,
Oh,
get a can pop on a credit card.
no, not.
You haven't seen it being abused, it's just you want
Yeah.
to make sure that the use of it's being pre-approved.
Well, I'd entertain a motion on this then, because it's set for
So on,
discussion and
one,
decision.
yeah, so on this one, then having the clerk and recorder's office, that it's checked out on a needed basis, that's the main change that was made,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and the other provisions saying if they go through the claim request
Yeah.
process, they do that, if that's not possible, then.
And that would be something, okay, now, instead of whipping out the credit card at the location, you need to have made your reservation. Before you made your reservation, you would call the clerk and recorder and say, I'm making a reservation, I need to use the credit card. for this room and this is what it's gonna cost, and then use the credit card. I mean, that's the pre-approved what I'm talking about.
Yes. No, you not for me, no, I didn't. I haven't slept
Yeah.
tonight.
That's reasonable.
So,
That's
Okay.
consistent with policy.
make a motion here.
So is to approve this?
That's what it says, discussion and decision, so I guess it,
Okay, just one question that it's in the clerk and recorder, it will be checked out as needed, and in the clerk and recorder's office, they will be able to, they have our permission to up the limit.
can they, then say if, can they, can they call in and say, well, will you give this place the credit card number so they don't have to come and get the credit card then, as long as
They,
they're
they,
keeping it here?
they could give it
Okay.
themselves, even all they'd have to do is call in to the
That's what
clerk.
I'm
Yeah,
asking.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
the clerk and recorder would need to know, hey, we're doing the rooms on the credit card. I don't want to use my own. And she'd say, sure. I mean, just give us what it's going to be and go for it.
All right.
I think the only thing is they've been just, instead of clarifying for the rooms and stuff, they just use it. And so that's already been resolved and taken care of, I think. I think we if I said too much,
No, I needed to clarify some stuff.
we just shut up.
No. Traverse.
Anyway,
All right, so I'd entertain a motion.
okay. I make a motion that the amendment to the Granite County credit card policy be approved.
I said,
That's standard, okay.
Public comment on this. Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Yours is the one you
That's
signed.
been carried
Did you
past.
already sign yours? Oh, no, I need that one.
I wrote on mine. Let it in. Sorry.
I think I stamped up for people.
Did you guys have any comment on that? I got looking here for a little hand.
Find that one. Thank you. So then I will need to get public health and road department to sign any one of these, right? Those are only, and then those are only two departments that have it.
So you want to, yeah, be using it, but yeah, how many employees that be using it, sign?
And the other ones will be checked out from there. Oh, you can go right into the next one. I didn't give you a
What's that?
I think you can go right into the next one. I didn't give you very much.
Okay, go ahead. I was reading it. The Montana State Aging Plan redesignation, discussion and decision. Is this just saying we're accepting Area 5?
This is saying that the option one is we do nothing and keep it the way it is. On option one,
Yeah.
that it works. It works. Why? It's not broke, don't fix it.
So,
And it came through your correspondence a couple of weeks ago, and you said you were gonna have it on your agenda.
Okay, do we have a copy of it?
Here's one. It should be on the website too, but if you want to just see it, I think it's in your packet too, but.
Did I just, oh, you did. I gave it to him because I thought it
Oh,
was,
yeah, no.
sorry. Okay, so reading over this, we were talking about option one, which is how we're doing it right now. And that is retaining Area 5 agency on aging by simply doing nothing, and that means it would be the same as it always has been. I make the motion that we stay on option 1 and keep it the same as it always is. I don't feel any reason that we need to go to option 2, 3, or 4.
No, second.
I was thinking that didn't belong in my pile,
No, you're fine.
and I handed it to him, and he's got his. Does that make sense?
Okay, is there any, any public comment on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion been carried and passed.
These are all things.
I didn't know if them ones that were from on that red line road, they were stamped before, if that's originals or.
No, they're not. I have the originals, but
Okay,
you're good. I haven't scanned it.
I just did.
And this next MOU, I think you have the one to sign.
Okay, Montana's, all right, we're gonna move on to the MOU between Granite County DES and FEMA IPAWS, discussion and decision.
They thought Jackie would be on for this, but I'm thinking she's probably busy.
You want me to explain?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the reverse 911. It just was being used by the town, came through the sheriff's office, and yeah, the agree, I think it's every 3 years, we have to review the agreement.
Is this
Yeah,
some of
it's
the,
And it actually came into effect yesterday with the town
Yeah,
water.
worked very good.
Yeah.
Other than, I mean, you say you didn't get stuff in Drummond, but it really was, I think, they're trying to get it for more of the
Yeah,
Phillipsburg area, I think.
and I just wanna note that I did get it in Drummond.
Did
I
you?
just want, I don't know if I'm on a different call thing or how that works, but I did get it in Drummond.
I thought it was where you're located at, like, so anyone
Well, unless he as
Here in
a
the
commissioner is on the list to get,
could be.
yeah.
So maybe that's why it just came,
Because I
Yeah.
got it too on my cell phone.
Yeah.
You got it on your cell phone.
okay.
So I would think that
That
that's
could be it.
probably
Yeah,
Good deal
as
then.
commissioner.
yeah.
There's something like this where, do we know how this went, you know, cause, maybe I'm stepping out of the loop here, but like with clerk and that, we showed them how an emergency thing worked. It's not, it wasn't about our dam, but it was about theirs, but how they've done all this work and that, do we send something to them, say that it's actually what we have done is, maybe they give us a break on some of that stuff?
I don't know, did we have a call out from FERC on our emergency response system?
Well, they used, remember we had to update all that, make
Yeah.
sure that the call order was right and everything else.
I think he's already been notified of it, I believe, so,
I
but,
just want to make
yeah.
sure that they know,
I can
Yeah.
email Kelsey.
yeah.
She
just
emailed
tell her
us.
that everything
Give
was,
her a copy of the agreement.
Yeah, I'll give her a call.
make sure you tell her spread burn, not,
I know I'm gonna screw with her today. I'm just kidding.
so. I just was, yeah,
Well, just their, yeah, their iPods is up to date.
I'll move to renew the MOU between Granite County and DES and, you know.
I'll second it.
any public comment on this? Being no public comment, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried and passed. Cause remember that one time they were really honest about that the call thing wasn't right, you know how they go down the line, but you see it in here and it shows, so it must have worked. I just wanted them to be known like that.
Your copy of the report from them.
So is there something here I signed?
If not, Jack will come to
This
me.
is the,
County customers. Yeah,
That-
you sign there.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, here it is. For Granite County, and then FEMA will sign there. Yes. Or Jackie would have just signed it. Thank you.
okay, so, we're gonna go into a closed session. If you guys, this is one of them that you'll have to step out because it's a personal matter. And then as soon as we're over, we'll come out and get you and come back in. Okay, we're back on and we're into the KLJ Engineering to present Reddick Field Master Planning Project. I think we had you guys.
How's everybody doing?
Good, how are you? I think we got one of these, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, I printed it small, but you made it big.
Well, got another one.
Thank you.
I think the main reason why we had is just to kind of figure out what's going on and how much more and what's all there. We're getting questions on the airport and just kind of need an update on what the hell's going on.
Sure, and I appreciate that. I'm Kent Penny, I'm with KLJ, I'm a senior airport planner. I've been working on this particular plan and met visited with you guys a couple of years ago when we kicked this off. And I believe, Billy, were you able to load this up so anybody online will be able to kind of watch it? Okay, sounds
I
good.
did.
Okay, so what I want to do is just take you through what we've completed, you know, what's been done with the master plan and what our folks will be doing as far as carrying out to the next projects and stuff. So what I want to do is I'll talk through a couple things because there's different items that kind of drive what decisions were made. And so I want to walk through those things with you. I'll talk to you a little bit about critical design aircraft. That was something that the airport committee had to kind of look through early on. We had to look at what that was going to be for you guys. We also looked at how the airfield itself would lay out and trying to achieve an instrument approach capability. And then there's some impact to land around there. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what the impact to land would be as it would go toward having an instrument approach. And then I'll also talk to you about the terminal and hangar area, what that layout looks like. I think Ernie went over some of that to you in the previous meeting. But I'll just kind of go over it again and then answer any questions that you might have.
Ernie, if you want to come up, grab a chair and come up here.
Yeah,
So we can
chair.
be- He's the airport chairman.
So so anyway, we started with, I'll start with the critical design aircraft. And so looking at this particular sheet, you can see what different sizes of aircraft are. Now, what we looked at was.
1 second.
Yes.
Did you get one?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay,
Yes, yeah.
sorry.
Okay, no problem. So what we looked at was the critical design aircraft that was determined for Riddick Field was an AB-1 aircraft, and that's the slowest approach speed of an aircraft, and it's the smallest wingspan. So it's similar aircraft for those are things like the Cessna 402, the Piper Navajo. Actually, that Citation jet is actually in that AB-1 category. It doesn't mean these other aircraft can't come in and out of here, but it's just not designed to really accommodate their larger wingspan or their faster approach speeds. It might be the case. So we look primarily at the AB-1, and you'll see what I did. There's a chart there that shows you what the requirements are as it looks at an AB-1, and you see the viz, that's for visual conditions. And then the next one says AB-1S, and it has a 5,000. So the 5,000 is a 1 mile visibility approach. And And so that's what we look at, is to get you guys a 1 mile visibility instrument approach, because that's what you'd like to achieve as much as possible. And so we look to try to achieve that. And the things that come into play, you'll see some of the different area dimensions. These are different safety surfaces that are important to carry these things out. Things like the runway safety area width, for instance. It starts out, it's 120 feet wide for the first two categories. But as you get larger, as you get into the next category, it's 150 foot wide. And then you go up to the CD2 category, that goes to 500 feet wide. So we show those on there, so at least we can kind of see, okay, what are the capabilities that are needed for certain things like that? And can you achieve it on this footprint where Riddick Field is located? And so that's what we did as we went through this. What we identified 50-foot width is really the maximum you guys could go with. So we couldn't go up to a larger aircraft. We couldn't go up to a AB2 category aircraft. We had to stick down with the AB1. And then we also looked at the building restriction line, because there's another safety surface, which is your approach surfaces, and those have a dimension that pushes out when you all of a sudden have the instrument approach capabilities. So that pushes out from 265 feet wide, 265 feet from the center line to 390 feet from the center line. So those are things that we have to kind of keep in mind. So that's what drove this critical design aircraft, drove us to look at your airfield. And yet, you're already on this one, Commissioner Adler. And you can see what we did is we put these key dimensions on here. We put things like the 20-foot building restriction line. We put the object-free area on there, and we look, okay, can we make this work? And you can see we can make it work with the AV1 small with 1 mile visibility, because the object-free area stays on your airfield. It doesn't go off of that. We do have the situation where the 20-foot building restriction line starts to push out some, but those are workable issues. So this one that was highlighted is the preferred layout. Now, as you see the next sheet, just so you know what these look like, as we were going through this footprint at Riddick Field, the object-free area was the big reason why we couldn't push out to an AB2 category. When we really would like to, as much as possible, but that dimension pushes out, and that object-free area pushes right up against the edge of the highway. And it just wouldn't be possible to do that. The FAA wouldn't allow it for their design standards. Yes.
So it looks like on that B1 small 5,000, there's hangars that would be in that 20-foot building restriction line. Is that?
Yes, there is a hangar that's in that area. And so long-term, for you guys to get the instrument approach capabilities you're going to need, that hangar will need to be relocated. And there's some footprint, there's some areas we've identified where that could be done. But that's something you have to realize. If you want to get that instrument approach capability, it's no different than deciding, okay, I want to have an interstate coming through this particular area. Well, the interstate, there's certain things that have to be cleared to be able to do that. And so, and there's some places where that building could be relocated. It's going to be a matter of working with the tenant for that building and see how that works in the long term.
What about those buildings at the end of the runway now?
The buildings at the end of the runway, those are not, there is some of the property that's impacted, but not the buildings that are impacted. So those don't have any more of a penetration than they have right now. So they're going to be fine. But there is some of the property, and I'll show you some of that. There's about 80-foot width of property along the east edge of the airport that we would recommend it is going to need to be acquired if you go to the point of having instrument approach capabilities. So when you do that, we do recommend you move toward that in the future.
Is there a fence line there, Ernie, where you turn to go in right here?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, there's a fence that runs all the way around.
Right next to that trail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, the trail is just on the other side of the road. So you got the fence, the road, and the trail.
So as we went through things, you're off to the next piece, which is the DNRC land. And we'll start on the east end, on the north end. to look at what this looks like, what the impact looks like. And so to achieve the layout that we recommend that you guys look at, we do recommend that you get a new access road, work with DNRC to get an access agreement to put in a new access road. And that road can go across the trail. I think it could be done in such a way that you can put some little stop signs and things like that.
This is DNRC ground?
Yeah, that's all DNRC.
Yeah, part of that is, and part of it belongs to the county, and part of this is what I mentioned the last time of.
Yeah, city and Forest Service and the city don't count. Go ahead, sorry.
So anyway, so we recommend getting, relocating an access road there. That will get you an access road in a place where you can work from that. You're never going to change that access road. It'll give you a good access into the airfield. Now, we do also recommend that the property boundary for the airport then be pushed out so that it encompasses all of that shaded green area, which means that there will be a need to, rework the trail through there, because that starts to be inside the airfield, because that will be fenced inside the airfield as well.
So you'd want us to try to talk to them and put their trail over here.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So anyway, that's in order to, have the instrument approach capabilities, that's the kind of footprint that you're going to need to be able to do that. I think that there's not a timeline for that. That's up to you guys of how you want to pursue that. We're just kind of showing you the steps that will need to be taken. As I noted on here, it's moved the entry road. The primary surface expands from 250 to 500 foot wide. That's what's pushing out that building restriction line. And then it amounts to about 80 feet of property that's to the east of what your current property line is right now. But that's actually, in this case, it's actually further because you have to include the road and everything too. So it pushes the fence over much farther than 80 feet. And there would be fence location and relocation and trail relocation. As you move further to the south along the middle portion of the runway, it's a similar situation where there would be 80 feet that would need to be acquired. Put a new fence in along that area. Again, this is not something that is on a timeline. It's dependent on when you want to do this. But the primary surface does expand. There is U.S. Forest Service property involved. It is possible to do this through a lease agreement with them, long-term lease. What the FAA looks at, they look for that lease to at least be 20 years on those leases. And then anytime you execute a new grant, they want to make sure when they execute a grant with you guys, that lease still continues for at least 20 years from that grant. Now, the other option you could look at is work through your congressional delegation and look to have a land transfer with the Forest Service. It's a much more involved process, but long-term, it might be something that you might look at to try to do that. So, and then the furthest to the south, there is a portion of, and this is a portion, I believe, of private property that would be impacted by this, and it's about an 80-foot width. It doesn't involve any existing structures, but it does involve some of the land that's there. And so that's what that looks like.
You might want to go to them first, because if they say no, then especially be looking at eminent domain, if we even want to go there.
Yeah, and like I said, this is something that we're putting together an airport layout plan that shows you these pieces and it shows what this is. It's still 100% up to you guys whether you want to move ahead on that. But in order to get yourself instrument approach capabilities into this airfield, because right now you've got, when cloud conditions occur around here, you've got a situation where aircraft can't get in. And one of the priorities that was identified was being able to have medical flights that could actually get into here. And in order for that to happen, those are the steps that are going to take place to do it. So we'll identify those things on the airport layout plan. Again, it'll be your decisions to make on those. There is, we have shared this. We do work with the FAA on matters like this. And the FAA does support these types of acquisitions, and there is federal funding that you can use. So you can use your federal funding toward these acquisitions as it is necessary when that comes out. So that's what it is related to the airfield. I can walk you through next with the terminal area. And so for the terminal area, you see what your existing terminal area is like. There is currently, there's not sufficient separation between the hangars to meet the FAA's current design criteria for space between the hangars. And so we looked at trying to deal with that. You already pointed out that building marked as 11 is inside where the building restriction line would be. And so what we did was we developed some layouts, and we worked with the airport committee several times, kind of going through these different layouts to figure out, okay, what's the most workable layout that we can go with, and making sure it's actually executable, things like that. So what they decided on was this preferred terminal area layout that you see. This does have all of the development that occurs here, all the hangar development that occurs is all demand driven. Now, I would recommend that as you have demand for hangars, it's probably best to be proactive about getting some taxi lanes in. And so you can proactively work with us, and we'll work with the FAA to get you funding to line up to get you some hangar taxi lanes built. And that way, when the hangars go in, they're going in the right places, and it'll work for you long term. But this particular layout, you'll see on the far north end, you could be able to place a large hangar there to be able to handle overnighted aircraft or things like that might need to come in. You could actually place a place to set. So if there's a life flight crew that's coming in, they'd have a place to actually go in and have some shelter while they're waiting for the ambulance, or the ambulance crew can wait there for the life flight or whatever it is that might be. There is a space also there in between that large hangar and the first small hangars is where you could put a fuel farm. So you could be able to place a fuel farm. You could have it as 100 LOLAD or Jet A or both. And, there's efforts related to trying to get unleaded fuel for piston aircraft. We'll see how that goes, but that's where you could be able to place that particular fuel farm. And the yellow shows you where pavements would be, and then it gives you this layout allows the hangar development, but also the hangar development doesn't impede other types of development. So you can phase this in. The last sheet that I'll show you is this one right here. This is one concern that the airport committee had was, how do we work with that back row of hangars that's out there right now? And how do we do something so that we can allow this other development to occur without having those others have to move? And so what we did, this shows you kind of how it would be phased. These particular hangars, you can actually put your taxi lane back that would head to the east, and then put any of the spurs out either heading north or south. And then those hangars can be developed. And then once these other hangars are eventually removed, then you can go back in and add that taxi lane in, and then allow the other development to occur that then has the sufficient separation. Now, just so you know, the way we designed this, the front area, the apron area, the front area is actually designed for Group 2 aircraft. So it's actually designed for your larger aircrafts like the King Air V200, the Lattice PC-12, those kind of life flight aircraft. That front end is designed so it has that kind of capability. All the back end is designed for your Group 1 aircraft. So it's designed for your smaller aircraft. This all does put everything on your existing footprint that you have with your easement with DNRC on that land. So it doesn't require anything additional with your DNRC easement agreement. So that's what all this looks like. There may be questions, and I'll be happy to answer those.
So would there be potentially full grant funding for the whole project this way, or would there be some gaps of it?
There would be, As far as eligibility, there would be eligibility for 90% federal money, and then I think you can still get, what is it, 5% state? What's the state match on these? Or it kind of varies, doesn't it?
Yeah, Nathan Schroed, I'm with KLJ Engineering as well. So the way the Montana Aeronautics works is you're eligible to apply up for the full 10% local match that's required on projects. But it goes before the board, Aeronautics Board of Directors, and they review all the applications, and then they decide how much funding they're going to give to each project. So they might give you all 10% that you asked for. They might not give you anything that you asked for. It just kind of depends. They do have, different projects at different priorities. Pretty much anything involving pavement reconstruction, runways, they set as high priorities. Weather's high priorities. And that's just historically the way the board has worked.
But the FAA funding would be 90%, and each of these items that are identified here would all be eligible for the 90%. It's just a matter of then figuring out how the remaining 10%.
Okay. What would be the total cost on this?
We haven't pulled cost estimates together for this. We will, we're focusing really on the runway work that needs to be done, because the rest of this is actually really going to be demand driven. It's going to be, if you have people that are asking for hangars, the question is, okay, how much pavement you put in? And then the hangars themselves are, you guys have typically worked with just individual tenants who've done a land lease with you, and they've built the hangar. So of course, we didn't factor in those kind of costs into this.
Yeah, basically what we're trying to do is just get all of our stuff that we have right now fixed. And then we can do this.
Then move on after.
Yeah. Just trying to fix the stuff we do have.
Like that access road would be a later one, or would that be one of the?
Well, I'm
first parts?
trying to get that kind of at the front part if we can, and the reason being is, so there's gonna have to be obviously dirt work and that kind of stuff out there, so it's real simple. Somebody's there like that's a small piece to it, so if we can get that in, get the grade set, and it's done.
Yeah, and you get your access road in place, you tear out the old one, eventually you try to get the trail moved, you do those things.
Do you go in first, and once you have the master plan, go in and request the FAA funding? That's kind of the first step in it, or what are the steps?
Well, the FAA will review the airport layout plan. It takes them a while to do their review of it, and they'll be able to stamp off on it and say, hey, we agree that this does meet our standards. And they will also say, this doesn't guarantee you any funding, but that's just what they do on every airport layout plan. And then that, okay, everything that's put on here, yes, we could move ahead with any of these projects when funding would come up, or when you guys would make a request. So, the county, you guys would make a request for, we'd like to move ahead with this particular project. Let's say we want to extend this taxi lane, and we'd like to do this as one of our projects. And then you would make a request in and say, okay, let's just pave this piece of taxi lane, or this piece of taxi lane.
You don't have to do it all.
You don't have to do it all.
Piece by piece.
You can do it
And
piece by
that's
piece.
what's nice.
Because otherwise,
thing
I
that
don't think we
kinda
could
is-
ever get the matching.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's not really weird that the federal government does this all the time with everything. You gotta have like the big overview picture, like here's the direction we're gonna be in 20 years or wherever. And then you just keep breaking it down in pieces, so it's not like, they just wanna make sure that you're headed down the right path. We're not gonna try to put something in that breaks, some of their rule requirements down the road. They're just trying to make sure everything fits together.
And this is the plan, right?
This is
This
part of
is
the
the
plan,
plan.
yeah. In fact,
This is
one of their deliverables today is to kind of lock everything down. You guys are like, all right, yeah, we're good with this. And then they'll continue on to actually get the ALP finished, which is the next step in the
And that's the technical drawings that we're working on to get those finalized.
What you're saying is they approve the plan, but they're not actually approving any specific part of it. It's just the general plan.
Correct.
When you go, they can commission later on to approve parts, and approve it subject to the funding being there, and go forward with specific parts.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Yeah,
To
it's
get
still going to be subject, each project itself will still be subject to, specific commission approval of what we want to go ahead with this or not. How do we want to do this? But, like you said, trying to get it all on paper, the FAA likes that, because I've found what happens is when where things get fouled up is when the first hanger goes in. It's inevitable, because you put it in the wrong spot, and all of a sudden, So that's why you try to put everything on paper. We can do all sorts of fancy things on paper, figure out what's gonna
Before
work
you build it.
before anything gets built and stuff, so.
Cause like, yeah, I see what you're saying, because you could waste a bunch of room by putting it in the wrong place and they won't accept it.
Yeah, and it actually, the biggest issue I've found is that sometimes it's not necessarily the FAA won't accept it, because the FAA really they get very specific about the runways and their taxiways. You know, when it gets to aprons and taxi lanes and hangars and things like that, I've contended the FAA will let you be as stupid as you want to be. You know, they'll let you, you know, they don't care how much you mess that one up. As long as they can protect their runway. So.
Why are you looking at me?
So this is just, you know, you guys know this from, you know, from land use planning, it's the same thing, you know? So that's a local decision.
One of the questions they had was, if the planning grant was gonna be expended, before the end of the fiscal year, or is it gonna, before June 30th, or is there gonna be some going into the?
There'll probably be a little bit of it that won't finish out until after the fiscal year. So you need to carry over a little bit of that. And the reason is because when we submit the stuff to the FAA, they're going to sit on that thing. I've had them sit on those things for 2 years as they're trying to get it worked out and stuff like that. So, and they'll send it back to us. Then we'll have to make a few other little revisions and then finalize it. So I'm hoping they'll turn it around in 6 months or so, that we'll hear back from them. But I would say the remaining piece, you know, if you could hang a little bit of it out there to remain into the next fiscal year, that would be easiest for you financially to do that.
Yeah, that could be done. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So I know I worked as an airport manager for 25 years, so I've had that thing of when's this grant going to come out? Okay, well, we're going to lock 20% of it over into this year, and that way at least it won't blow my budget.
Is there any public comment on this? Is there any public comment on this?
There she is.
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you. For the record, Elena Gagliano. Looking at the plans, it's deja vu all over again. It started that we weren't going to extend this or do anything. We were just going to repave the runway, make it a little better. Now look at the plans. You move in the hangars. This is going to be extended. You're going to put fuel pumps in. You know, seed money. And once they plant these things, who's going to take care of it? I'll go back to my question I asked before. What's the economic benefit to Granite County on the whole? There isn't any. The only ones that are going to benefit from this are people that own their own private planes. We don't have that many people in Granite County that own their own private planes. And I think who started this all a few years ago was one certain enterprise. And look what we're getting now. And then we also have a problem with private property, Forest Service property. The boundaries are questionable. You're going to be opening up a can of worms. Even doing this, you're going to move things. You're going to ask for leases to be changed, permission, and nobody really wants this thing. Again, you're going to open up a can of worms. Deja vu, years ago, the FAA wanted to extend this airfield. And the people signed a petition. They did not want it. And now we were told it's not going to be extending this in the beginning. But look at the preferred airfield and what they're doing. I'm sorry. I don't think you should get into this can of worms, like I said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want me to respond to any of that?
Yeah, you can. It's open.
Essentially, so it's not, I know what you're talking about here several years ago, this
kind of a similar project was started. And they were actually trying to develop it and grow the airport, make it a larger size airport. That's not the case here. Nothing on this runway is longer than it currently is. Nothing is wider than it currently is. The only thing that is a little bit different is your apron ways and your taxiways and the hangar layouts. And the reason being is you have to basically make that fit into the current FAA standards, and all that has to be covered into this, regardless whether you do it or not. And that's completely up to the commissioners to do that. And like we mentioned before, the only real thrust behind all of this is to basically make repairs to the airport currently, to fix the runway and fix the aprons.
Well,
Which
then-
isn't larger, it's the exact same footprint.
And then that way, if we had to move on, at least we're already.
Yeah,
past
and then
that
if
point.
in the future you decide you want to move on and make it bigger, do this, that's fine, it's all laid out, but that's not the current plan.
Yeah, the only increase in capabilities would be to get your instrument capabilities.
Right.
You know, but that's the only thing that can be done. You know, the footprint of this airport is too small to do any more than that. I know, you know, a couple of decades ago, there was that other site that was identified for the needs there, but that's, you know, this is what can be done on this site, and that's what we were tasked with, and that's what we work with you guys with.
Did you say life flight is a key?
That's one of the key elements to this.
Life flight would need the instrument capabilities for them to be able to, that way they could reliably come in. Otherwise, they're really very, very subject to visual conditions. Even helicopters coming in, it's difficult for them because they've got to traverse the mountains coming across.
And they're limited on those visual conditions to view, basically. That's about the closest.
And life flight is the D1 or?
Well,
Yeah, they still, well,
they
they
have
use
some-
them PC-12.
They have some aircraft that's like the A2s and stuff, and they do come in here. There's PC-12s that come in here right now. But it's just a matter of, you know, the design standards can really only be that AB1 small or 5,000 foot visibility.
But we definitely have to do something with the runway if we're gonna keep using it. right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to, I mean, it's already
Yeah, no.
installed and it's
Yeah.
Even whether
very
it's
rough, so.
the big deal or the small, we're gonna have to try to fix it so we can actually use what we have.
Right.
Correct?
And then, and what we'll identify when we put the airport layout plan together, we'll identify the capabilities of what you've got to maintain. And we'll also identify the future capabilities, which will be what can be done with the instrument capabilities.
Okay, so what you're doing is we've got the plan. We need the plan to make the improvements.
Correct.
To make the improvements, we apply for the grants and hopefully get 90% plus 5% from the
10%.
state and maybe end up only paying 5%
To
from
have
the
a-
county,
Correct.
which would hopefully be enough in the levy of the airport if we possibly had to bring it up another mill. That's what our intent is
Correct.
to, that makes sense to me. I don't see any,
I don't see no conflict in it. Go ahead, Elena.
Clarification, the slides that you've shown, is there one slide here that is the bare minimum that you're going to do? Or are all these the preferred? And in the future, if we want it, is there one slide that says what you're going to do initially just to make it usable the way it is?
We can do that, but the commissioners are in charge of all that, I guess is my point. None of this happens unless they decide this is what they're gonna do and this piece of it's what they wanna do. This
See,
is
I-
just-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, this is just a planning function so that everybody knows, like, broad scale, this is the direction. If you decided to go and do all these various things, this is how it would all be laid out. Now, the individual steps or individual projects, that's all up to the commissioner. So if the commissioners came and said, all right, first I want to do the runway repaving and I want to do the apron. And we're like, okay, we would give it to KLJ and they'll be like, all right, this is what needs to be done. At this point, it's just a planning stage. There's no there's no like, I don't wanna say no real work, because this is part of it, but there's no construction stuff that goes on and projects that get approved until the commissioners say this is what we wanna do and this is what we approve.
Well, that's the whole deal was why we had you come in, because everybody's asking, what are you paying for this, you know, and so
Yeah.
now you gave us an update on what the project.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
master.
Yeah, and I think to answer Elaine's question, if she looks at the slide that has the two aerial photos and has the one outlined as preferred airfield, that top one is really what we have right now. So when the reconstruction is done on the runway and stuff like that, you're basically going to have that top one. That's what you're going to have. And then for you to go and get your instrument capabilities, that's what it would look like, would be the bottom where it's outlined in orange with preferred airfield. That's kind of what it looks like. We didn't zoom in on the terminal area for that, but the terminal area still kind of goes, you can use that terminal area slide and see what it looks like. And it's all demand driven based on when somebody wants to build a tank.
So the commissioners can approve that first one and leave it at that, right?
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, they drive the whole
It's up to
thing.
us.
It's up to you guys to do
Well, this is
any,
it.
all or none.
We just
One
wanted to make-
comment,
Go
please,
ahead,
Elena.
Stan.
This is saying, this is the fixed one, this is the preferred airfield. If we could get the grant money, why wouldn't we go for the preferred airfield?
That'd be great.
Anything.
We would.
That would be great. But you know what happens, Blanche? Once you do that, well, hey, but this is the preferred one. Why don't we just leave it at that this is what we want? This is what we started as, just that first one, and leave it at that. You know, I'm telling you, dealing with the federal government and grant money, once you start this, then they're going to come back. Well, you already did this. Now you're going to have to do this. My question again, what economic benefit does this have to the county? And the last time I asked that question, I don't remember who said it. He said none. Okay, none.
All right,
And,
thank you.
oh, thank you. Sorry. Go ahead.
So we'll put the airport layout plan together. It'll have all the technical elements. One of the items for you guys to have the instrument approach capability is also to get a weather sensor system in here. What we've identified as we've looked at your area, there is and this will show up in the airport layout plan. When you look at the whole footprint for preferred airfield, there's not any place on here we can actually put on your current property where we can put an AWAS unit, which is the weather system. So we'll probably end up having to work with looking at putting some across the road and working with that. But that will be an eligible item. It'll get you actual, weather information for right here, which will be a very, very big plus for any life flights that are coming in and out. But those things are about probably a 50 by 50, 50 foot by 50 foot area of ground where you stick an AWAS at. So it's not a big impact to have those, but that will be a matter of working with those landowners.
You say lighting as well, or?
Well, the lighting will be redone on the airfield at the same time, but this is just the weather system that would go in. At a certain distance away from the center line of the runway, otherwise it creates an actual obstruction. So that's why. And again, your footprint is so narrow, and also we need to make sure it's not shielded by things. So you don't want it sitting around buildings, because that's going to shield the wind information, and it's not going to give you accurate wind information and stuff like that.
Well, I really appreciate you guys coming in. I'm not trying to move it on, but this was the whole deal, was to see what the master plan really was, because, we keep signing off, and that's why we had to come in and explain everything.
Do you need a decision today?
Well, it's only on for discussion.
Yeah.
Can't make a.
So decision for what?
To move on to.
Move on.
It appears there's consensus on it. We're moving
Yeah, we
ahead
just want to
with
make sure we're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is finishing the plan, correct?
That's what they're.
This is what this is, finishing the plan.
We
And
got
then we'll
enough
go
into
forward.
it. Yeah, we got
Yeah.
enough into this. You need to finish the plan. and then
So the plan is
jump
paid
to
for,
stop.
correct?
Yeah, I think you guys, it's all under grant, it's all being processed and stuff.
So I wouldn't stop now. I mean, I know we can't make a decision, but that'd be pretty crazy to say stop and we've got all this already done and then that all goes out. That's a, yeah.
So this is the preliminary plan, right?
Yes.
And then
That's
this
what it
has
looks
to be
like.
submitted and approved.
Yeah, we have a set of drawings, it's about, I don't know, about 12, 14 sheets that we'll have, and it has all the inner approach surfaces, and it gets into very good detail about what all's been done. When we get that prepared, we'll be submitting that to the FA, and that will be the technical.
Well, that will
drawings
let
of
us know
this.
too and kind of have a little head, know if we're gonna get anything too.
Right,
By the
yeah.
time, they might look and say, well, this isn't gonna meet whatever they say.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
we went through with the master plan, so we know we're doing it right.
Yeah.
And we've been working with them all along, so we kind of know, they kind of know what we're trying to do and we know what their requirements are, so.
I really appreciate the work you've done.
I'm very happy to help.
Then come, oh, I thought you were. Yeah, it is hot.
And then Nathan's gonna be working with you on the other pieces as we move forward. I think we pointed that out on the last page. Next thing, we're getting the airport layout plan done. The next project's gonna be the environmental and design for the runway reconstruction. So he's been working with you guys on that. That'll be the next step to get the environmental completed, so you can get that reconstruction done.
If there was a decision today, I guess, yeah, just gotta keep going ahead. We don't dare stop now. At least that way we know what.
Like I said, we just want to make sure we're still headed in the right direction.
Makes a lot of sense to me. It looks good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank
very
you.
much. Appreciate it.
Budget.
Thanks. All right, thank you a lot. I'll leave the.
Thank you.
here. Yeah, if anybody needs those. All right, thank you a lot for the time.
Go through it in
Billy,
one
we'll
for you.
adjourn.
Okay.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, you bet.